Just a temporary.
That's good, right?
Somebody's.
No, that's the laptop.
Thank you very much, brother.
Oh, thank you, brother.
Beautiful job.
Thank you, brother.
Welcome, family.
Yes, sir.
It feels good to be home. Family. It's been a while since I've had the privilege of standing before you all, and it's been very interesting where I've been in Florida, sitting in the wilds, loving every moment of it. Thought I was actually being banished there, but you know, the ancestors, they just recommission, send you where you're supposed to be. I have been going through a few things. Metamorphosis, because my mother had just passed. So she's good. She's fine. Thank you for the comments and the sentiments. So it's with a renewed resolve that I'm coming back to speak on some things. It may seem to be a potpourri. It's going to be a little mixed up, but I have decided to make this, of course, a ongoing thing. We are from about 1998, 1999, back in the early times of gathering the masters, people have asked me to do something on the Mayan calendar. And I've told everyone that they weren't ready for it because it's a little too heavy. You're not ready to think and be on that line. And I wasn't being facetious or being egotistical. That's what it was. So now, as we come to that moment where we stand on the threshold, I have decided to scratch the surface along for a while, and we're going to join together to understand a little bit of what's getting ready to happen to us as a humanity and a she-manity.
Yes.
What happens now is I'm going to need your attention because I'm going to have to jump back and forth to different circumstances that are going to be triangulating to a specific nexus. And this particular nexus is going to be a powerful one for us as peoples because it's going to change us back to who we have been. And the willy chip is going to be dysfunctional. So what's getting ready to happen is if you have been following a specific track of thinking that has you believing that you are waiting for a vicarious atonement so somebody can come and pull your ass out of pride, it's not going to happen. You know, for the last 30 years we've been talking about this, and I have been chased by Christians, waylaid by Muslims, maybe, you know, psychologically stoned by Hebrew Israelites. But I say this, and I love all my brothers and sisters who had to take the forks to deal with the side roads of their experiences, to welcome them back to the main road. And I'm going to be putting some things together. Now, I have found that it's necessary for us to understand that. Let me put this thing to.
I want to go back.
Yeah, I have to go. Put me back on the.
All right. I'll go back.
Yeah, because I have to put the image. Right. Go here to the screen. Right? No. Don't go there. Go back. You're on right here. See the screen? That little thing right here. That little thing right there. No, there. Yeah. That one. Right. I've decided to call this particular program appropriately the art and science of hyperdimensional warfare, post and momentum. You know, that's me. I'm a they don't put those names on there. They had the tape on the cover. And so a lot of people ask me, well, I saw this tape and I saw that tape. Lord knows, I don't know what they're talking about. Hyperdimensional warfare, because here is where the war will be taking place. Beyond the dimension and to the dimension we are about to transit to. It is going to be a battle because the thresholds are now being fortified. The boundaries to the place where you are going to ascend to, where you are going to inherit, they are fortifying the parapets. They are fortifying the thresholds so that you do not make the transition. And they say, well, we all going. Yes, some of us. We all going, how are we going to get there, in what condition we're going to get there? Yeah. But it's all right because, you see, we're too worried about the flesh. Everybody wants to save some part of the old paradigm because they're nostalgic. It's not going to look the same. It is definitely going to die, and there are going to be a lot of casualties. And I'm sorry to say, there are many of us who are not going to make it. And we have to come to that understanding. Some of your loved ones, some of the people who are not triangulating on the right frequencies, they're not going to be here, but that's all right. That's all right. I had to prepare my children for my death, which is traumatic for them. I said, the work that I do could get me killed. And you have to remember that this is just a shell. And all I'm doing is being reassigned. You got the torch. And with teachers up and coming, y'all all right. Been doing this 30 years. I'm tired. But guess what? It's all right. It's all right. But now y'all are going to have to pull your own weight. It's not about just listening to us anymore. It's about getting your hammer, your nail, and if you got a gun, if you're going to use it, then use it for a righteous purpose. But whatever you do, make sure it is in conjunction and alignment with the time to come. Don't go dying for no stupid reasons, like oil, or like a plane. Make sure that you're dying for a purpose, because you're going to carry that memory with you to the next life. So I say this to everyone. As you know, when I speak specifically and writing. For those of you who are just coming to see me, I can speak forever on a topic, but my topics are specific. So each tape, yeah, let's all do that.
Let's don't lose energy.
So, as with all things, we'd like to thank the Creator, our illustrious ancestors upon whose shoulders we stand, my immediate family, Rosalind, Shamika, Charlene, Amen Ra, Sahai and Sahar, my dearly departed and beloved parents, my beloved Queen Nalani Sopnati Ra, my big brother Vernon Burton and his queen, my little brother Heru, my dear sister Renee Sprague, my Ma'ati and queen, Sister Myra Scott L., Brother Leon. By the way, Sister Myra Scott L. will be here. She is going to address you from the second half for about 10 or 15 minutes on a matter of great importance to us, especially to protect her. I'd also like to give thanks to the illustrious brothers, and I want you all to give it up for them, from the Move Productions, Brother Black Dot, Brother Chris, and Brother Rick. Their kind and unwavering support and their invitation, hosting this event, to the Shona Powerhouse of Consciousness and the Grand Poobah Street Warrior, Brother Sarnetta. And to my brother, Brother Rashid, for his diligence and steadfast commitment to forwarding the consciousness movement. definitely thank you for all the work that you are doing out there, as well as one of the young soldiers coming up the ranks. I'd also like to give an extra special word of thanks and appreciation to Dr. Ann Brown and her invaluable assistance in helping me to validate the new perspective, authoritative, progressive information that I have now put into my new book, The Wounded Womb, which is now 600 and something odd pages of information that essentially is now substantiating the things that I've said since 1990. That book will be ready in about a week. I'm having problems putting the index together because it's so much. If anybody knows how to do an index, help me out. Also, I would love to give an extra special thanks to an extremely talented and humble brother, my spiritual godson, Brother Junior Coggins, for his outstanding design work in helping me with the artwork of the cover, as well as in helping me edit and format the work. So I give thanks to that young brother, very powerful, diligent young brother, extremely talented. If you are looking for covers or any kind of graphic work, I would suggest it. In fact, I would also tell you that Brother Curtis Cost, in his book Vaccines Are Dangerous, which is now a classic, is redoing the book. And Brother Curtis, Brother Junior Coggins will be doing the cover to that as well. I'm not sure who turned on the lights, but it's all right. You can turn it off. So there you are.
Oh, they turned the lights.
Did you hit the button? All right, that's good. No, that didn't have to be all of them. Yeah. Put it down there.
Excuse me, the title of that book was Black Seeds or Flax Seeds Are Dangerous?
No, vaccines.
Oh, vaccines are dangerous.
Vaccine ain't dangerous.
Gotta watch the words.
Yeah, just bring down a little bit. That's good. That's good. Can everybody see the screen?
Yes, sir.
It'd be a little bit better, like we had it previously, it would be better.
You hear me? Get a little bit more better from the
Dark.
First start
a little darker.
Yeah. Down.
All right, hang on a second.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's
right
it.
here.
That's it.
You had it.
Let's see.
Right here. Stop.
Needless to say, it's been a while since we've been gathered together, as I said before, much less strategized for solution in these ever-deteriorating times of uncertainty and insanity. As expected, many of you have been somewhat puzzled and curious about today's lecture because you called me on it, and the title, Art and Science of Hyperdimensional Warfare, Part 1. And I've heard it even say that, hey, it sounds like Valentine. That may be, although in this case, the title speaks mostly to the impending circumstances that I believe will be extremely critical to your personal life choices over the next 7 to 10 years. I say this because literally and figuratively, we are all witnessing the final days of peace and so-called freedom here in America. Of course, this all sounds cliche to those not on the frequency, but to those with eyes to see and ears to hear, we know that the war against the higher evolution of spirit in the flesh and the ongoing suppression of consciousness accretion has escalated exponentially, and the collateral damage has polluted the very nature and membrane of the planetary ethereum that houses our thoughts, our dreams, our emotions, our desires, and the intent signatures of our individual will. Just check the computer featured in the movie Ocean's 13. This is why I have chosen and will continue to focus my attention on the hyperdimensional dynamics of thought, consciousness, and the individual will, especially since, as we all shall soon see, just who is behind the technologies being deployed against us, and what the so-called leadership of the world has in store for their population in the very near future.
In today's session, I wish to remove any doubt as to who or what your enemy is, his strategies against you, and his intrinsic nature. I would also like to remove all of your all too optimistic sense of time. That is, the naive, complacent belief that you still have any left. Scary lesson number 101, you don't. The passage of time as we have come to know it, especially with the advent of Marduk and the Earth's impending passage through the cosmic pillars of Amenta from 2011 to 2020, is over. The herald of the beginning, Nibiru, is in sight and has bypassed our home world, which from our proximity to the galactic center is a herald of the end. In fact, time as we know it actually ended 6 years, 6 months, and some 160 days ago, September 11, 2001, when a portal created by the resonant frequencies of the gold stored there, which synchronized with the Amenta portal of the Milky Way, was temporarily shut down by the detonation of 2 micronukes in the 6th sub-basement of the World Trade Center. This was a tactical counterattack against the ever-increasing incursion of higher dimensional wave band signatures that continue to appear at specific vortex points, both naturally and synthetically, within the morphogenetic field all around this planet. There are microportals of higher electrotonal frequencies appearing in Ethiopia, Somalia, Iran, Iraq, Antarctica, Arizona, Chichen Itza, Cancun, South Africa, Indonesia, Northeast China, India, near Pakistan, the Congo, and Tibet, just to name a few. And the irony in all this is that the vast majority of us are either unaware, unprepared, or totally unconcerned. And as we all know, great tectonic, atmospheric, and psychologic-based disasters are occurring or are building up, all in the forms of earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanic eruptions, polar meltdowns, arid dryouts, sunstorms, and world wars. In fact, governments everywhere are preparing for the coming cataclysms as we speak. Our government has a gargantuan network of underground cities, highways, and installations circuited throughout by the parasitic elite so they can escape the coming times when the code red alert is inevitably sounded. 3/4 of humanity has become spiritually senile and numbed out by religion, oblivious and obsequious information, unresponsive to the inner voices of their higher reasoning. Take a look today at where the underground installations and highways right now are. Towards the west, each one you see are underground facilities. Get used to the technology. All these are highways connecting underground. All these are installations. You can read the map here once the time comes to make sure that you zoom in and see the words, so there's a key right here for you to read for the symbols. All around the Midwest to the west and parts of the Northeast, there are underground installations that the rich have built for themselves when the time comes. Some may ask me, is it really that bad, Brother Valentine? Well, wait till you see where we are and where we're headed as a people, as a race, and as a nation. Presently, the vast majority of our folks across the nation, to no one's surprise, live in a trance maintained by the pursuits of habits and addictions that we are satisfied to call living, wrapped in a false sense of security that tomorrow is just another thank you, sweet Jesus, or sleeping pill away. We presently function as disassociative, disconnected prisoners of war, suffering from centuries of degradation and brutality that has completely eradicated all of our normal assumptions of life that we as human beings have come to know over the last 100,000 years. Our faculties for organized thought and critical thinking and organic concepts of reality and our divinity are now minute to non-existent. We are numb to the pain of the collective heartbeat and the desperation of the collective mind. Our natural emotions of empathy have shut down, including our emotions of disgust, horror, pity, and psychospiritual symmetry, that which is pure and organic to being human in this consciousness cycle. All of it gone. Our lockdown behind the frequency fence erected by the scientists of the parasitic elite has successfully worked at getting the majority of us to think and act like prisoners in a concentration camp. Many of the underground teachers say that all this is but a rehearsal for the inevitable. So look around and study the symptoms of your neighbor, your fellow prisoners in a virtual, soon-to-be very real cage. Look at how we think primarily in terms of maintaining the barest levels of survival. Like prisoners, every thought or entertainment, everything that we do in our hearts is based on immediate gratification of programmed appetites. We think only of the rituals that support our current comfort zones, how to stay warm, find food, sex, and now more than ever, avoid undue attention to your actions so as not to incur the wrath of the prison guards that patrol the courtyards of your neighborhoods. Black people's thinking and reactions have become very selective and predictable, especially Christians. How do we survive? By not pissing massa off. And we see this mentally manifested in the fact that as a black leadership, no one has formed any workable strategies for survival or defense in the ever-growing environment of fascism and totalitarianism here in America, nor for the impending environmental cataclysms that were prophesied by our ancestors to devastate us to the tune of millions of lives. A psychospiritual apathy has taken over and has created in us an inability to care about anything that is not beneficial to our immediate self-interests. Yes, black people suffer from post-traumatic slave disorder. That's right. But the most debilitating psychosis to come from this trauma series, this trauma feeling, and this trauma experience is what has come to be known as Stockholm Syndrome. We have come to love our captors and our captivity. We care more for and cater most to the whims and the wishes of our torturers, and thank the Vatican and the religions that they give us every day. Like prisoners in 23-hour lockdown, we have lost or given up the normal ways of responding to life and each other. We have learned to develop higher and more elaborate mind tricks for physical and psychological survival. Look at us. All of our present actions as a community and as a people are calculated so as not to piss off the overseer guards. Think about what you feel as you drive by a cop car, or when one eases up behind you in a normal traffic. Or try walking by a group of cops standing on the curb on the corner in your neighborhood. Observe the way your mind automatically goes. See yourself avoiding eye contact, how your gaze lowers to the ground or looks in the opposite direction. See how you do the same thing with average people on the street, on the bus, or on the subway. We tend to be on our best behavior and manners with the guards around, especially white people as authority figures. Look how easily Clinton took up residence in your backyard after Khalid's assassination. This is why church for Christians, Muslims, and Hebrew Israelites has become a haven for downtrodden black folks. We no longer have to be responsible for the consequences of our collective social apathy. Because of the churches, the mosques, and the synagogues, we no longer have to call the perpetrator out on the carpet anymore. If you're Christian, he's forgiven no matter what he did, because you've been baptized in the blood. Your own blood, but hey, who's counting? Now, all we have to do in response to our ever-increasing oppression and our stultifying frustration is to shout, "Thank you, sweet Jesus! Allahu Akbar! Praise Yahweh!" Scream and shout, sing or mumble the design mindfuck programming of your chosen faith, and peace through New York. All this is to keep you from discovering for yourself that you are the God you seek to initiate the second coming. That your God said, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and that the kingdom of God is within you.
That's right.
That being the case, where else would your God be except in heaven? And if it is in you, what does that make you? That's right, a portable paradise. Let me say that again. A portable paradise. A mobile heaven right here on earth. You are the cosmic monad or nomad, whose mother father is the cosmic monad, a quantum traveler of light. You are light-based consciousness on course to the ultimate destination within, to heaven. The wisest of our wisest elders have repeatedly said down through the ages that which you seek, you already possess. That you are the God you seek. You are the heaven you covet. You are the salvation that you await and pray for so desperately. The present God structures, worship, and collective mind, will, and intent of humanity characterizes and caricatures of consciousness who go by the naive or the names of Jesus, Allah, Yehuda, all are nothing more than nomenclatures of tyranny. The alter egos of alien psychotic mindsets baptized by the crusades that still continue on our lands and in our minds, that continue to feed the floods, the flooding rivers of blood already shed by our ancestors. These holy names are holy shames. Let me say that again. These holy names are holy shames. You bow to your oppressors and your captors and your conquerors' God. Don't let that marinate.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You don't even know who to call God anymore or what to call God. These holy names are holy shames. Mind-controlled, emotion-based trigger words that shift your consciousness, your precious awareness of God away from point center, your archetypal center of being, where the true God of all is. The nameless, unmanifested, that's where it exists. Shift it outward to the dogma and the delusion orchestrated by the priestcraft of the parasitic elite. Jesus, Allah, and Jehovah are psychogenic command triggers, alien disruptor signals which act as the sentinels of your mind's jamming signals. They are mind-controlled jamming signals, and they block the pathway that lead to universal truth. Semantic sentinels of your 460-year lockdown under theological mind control. In fact, all religions are the satanic sentinels of mind control. And this type of control constitutes the foundation of our presently obsolete paradigm constructs of awareness. The parasitic, or the parasite, lives off of the control paradigms. For it is through control paradigms that the parasite wages covert war for possession of your evolutionary light. Thus, the very first lesson to learn and to master in the art of hyperdimensional combat and warfare is to recognize the subtle nuances of your working mind, what parts you may have already surrendered of the essential self. Recognize how Christians don't want to piss off their prison guard, Jesus. Muslims don't want to piss off their prison guard, Allah. Hebrew Israelites don't want to piss off their prison guard, Yahweh. And the unknown tragedy lurking behind all of these, right behind the curtain where the wizard is operating, is of this pretentious circus of piety by religion, is that all three prison guards work hand in hand with and for the blood-sucking ringmasters of the Vatican. All three. Yes, Jesus, Allah, and Jehovah are all full-time employees of their warden, the Pope. I look like I got some people pissed off. Islam, Christianity, Judaism, head office is in the Vatican. The Pope, I told you this 20 years ago, gave permission for Islam to be practiced here on these soils. The Pope is running everything that you see going on in the Middle East between what looks like Islam and Christianity. And you're playing right along. You're playing right along. Because those are the three names of the three-headed dragon that mind controls the population to maintain the lockdown, to take away the God structure that you are within, to place it outside into a dogmatic delusion that you are willing to die for. If you're willing to die for an illusion, I got you under control. Because you don't know who you are. So you call God Allah, and then you make up a definite, in our majesty and in our creativity, we make up everything that comes around and says, that's who we are, we've been that. No, we ain't. You forgot the names of your Creator, because Creator came through you when you were voicing, when you were in trance, when you were dancing. You don't dance anymore. That's why you take so many damn pills. That's why you're depressed. That's why you have all these diseases. Because you don't call the name of the Creator that vibrated through your nervous system, through your own biological wiring, into the words that spoke the name of the Creator. You were forced through Willie chipping. They beat it into you. They beat Allah into you. They beat Jesus into you. And they beat Yehuda into you. These weren't your gods. You don't even speak that language. They're speaking derivatives of your language. And I dare anybody to tell me that the Pope don't run Islam. And prove to me that he doesn't. Oh, we're going to have a serious revelation time today. You know me, I have to start in a slow trot. I'm a long distance runner. All the ladies do that way back in the day. But I divert. Beloved brothers and sisters, Jesus, Allah, and Jehovah are old school perpetrators of higher consciousness, conjured up by spiritual parasites to jack the rhythm, the soulful lyrics, and the mind-expanding melodies of our ancestral blood songs. As the event horizon of End Time 2012 rapidly approaches, signaling the end of a galactic time frame of consciousness, the parasitic elite have intensified their attacks on the evolutionary consciousness of humanity. Satanic sigils and symbols embedded in mind-fuck programming and propaganda campaigns, broadcast through education, entertainment, and assorted media, along with heart-based neuroelectric distorters, are being witnessed and felt around the world by a sensitive few. The end of the epoch is here, and the shift of ages has begun. Thus, repressive mind control techniques have intensified in their sophistication to the point where the ego of the parasites in rulership no longer pretend as their ultimate intentions for us. For we don't have to operate in the shadows anymore. For example, there are things that I would like to speak to you on related to what they're doing. You see this? That is a tunnel digging machine. I put it up there so you can kind of entrain it into your mind. They didn't believe this really worked until they saw the movie The Core. When The Core came out, you should have known that they were already underground 800 miles. And that there were highway systems linking continents under oceans. Under parts of the ocean. and that they have technologies that are at least 100 years in advance to what it is that you are operating with your little Palm Pilot. Ready? Okay. Here's another shot. These bad boys dig about a mile a day. And behind them, it's almost like automatic. They are rolling the pitch to make a highway. Doesn't take them long at all. The truck wheels are 2 6-foot men high. And some are even larger. Now, it is man that is the better part of God. It is man that is the worst part of God. And it is for man to choose what part of the self to be ultimately nurtured into the God of his or her destiny. You are the God you seek. There is no one before you, and there will be no one after you. There will be nothing coming to stand on a cloud to bring you anywhere outside. You will not go through no pearly gates. There's nobody named no damn Peter. You got to get it for yourself. If you don't do it for yourself, you're going to be here. You're just going to have to come back and do it again. Now, I have to get used to this and see how this works. The present God structures projected by the collective will and intent of humanity, the mental structures as we were speaking about, we have gone through the names that shift. Keep that in your mind. How many people were Christians in here?
Who was it?
Word. You said word.
Word.
See, I got you all right. As soon as I said word, you all said. You don't want to piss off Jesus. When things get bad, you all say, oh, Jesus. Jesus Christ. Is that right?
Yes. Right.
Muslims, every second word, Allah. You can't talk to no Muslim about Allah now. He'll kill you. A name, he'll kill you. Hebrew Israelites, they just want to argue. They want to tell you that Jesus and Allah came from them. That you worshiping a Jewish God that we don't want. We all told you that he was the one, the three names and what they represent. One sign that shows you that the end time is coming is Nibiru Marduk. I need to speak to you of wormwood. And here's an interesting thing that most people are not paying attention to. And I'm going to say a few things that's going to end up, well, what the heck does that mean? Stay with me. Planet X is something that they don't want you to know about when it passed. Why? Because it signaled the coming of an age and leaving of an age. And they don't want that age to be out of their control, the one we're getting ready to inherit. These are the names that your ancestors gave to this planet. And the stories of the ancestors and what the gods that they essentially created were not really gods, but influences of science. Because our science was different from the sciences of today. What they would call, matter and all these, we'd give a name of a god to. And we would know what it means. But our sciences were more alive. Because in naming something, you gave it a living sense of being. Western culture, in their sciences, labels dead things. They look at the different energies and label it with a dead, very cold, left brain thing. And they do not want to give away the science and the life force that's behind the thing that they have named. But our people were in tune with these forces, because melanin, being a magnetic polymer, was always picking up electromagnetic energies and information that they are only now seeing is coming inside of light. They now know that different forms of light and the triangulation of different constellations coming together create specific types of behaviorisms inside of the cell and inside of your body and your temperament. So if that's the case, it means that there is an intelligence behind these triangulations, and these triangulations are broadcast signals of light codes coming to you so that your DNA may now begin to entrain and then shape the way the DNA will now give information to the biology of your body, and thus change refine your body to take away the density of the body so that you pick up even more refined signals. So with planets moving in our sphere, every planet that is in its position at this time is in its position to maintain our consciousness evolution to another plane. Where every planet is situated in our solar system, including the one that they call Nibiru, which comes by every 3,600 years. Every time it passes by, just like every time Mars passes by, every time Venus, the moon, everything is happening on a psycho-spiritual level to change you in some way, or to at least influence you. But guess what? Your religions take away astrology and astronomy because they understand what happens if you begin to study what happens in the sky. Then all your Jesus just goes out the window. Your Christ coming back and being born on the 21st and all this bullshit now becomes science. And they do not want you to deal with the spiritual sciences. The spiritual sciences have you looking up. Because guess what? Something is looking back. And sending out signals to you to wake up, my children. We're going to have fun today. I'm going to go forward and see and show you what has happened with Nibiru. This is essentially where the planets are situated at this time, or were situated. And these are the so-called 12 planets that Zachariah Sitchin put together. They named partly the moon as one of the planets. Now, a moon, as we know metaphysically, a moon was once a sun that became an earth, and an earth that then became a moon. As all things, everything that we see happen, after it hits the moon stage, it then disappears and goes back into the Empyrean to draw together as it does in cosmic clouds to consolidate into a sun. Again, the sun burns brightly, right? The born sun. Remember, the sun is the youngest form of life in the planet, in existence at this time. And these are the proximities, the asteroid belt that supposedly blew up as a result of a mining expedition, a planet that blew up because of a mining expedition, and the mining expedition went wrong. Here we have there, coming out of the Orion belt, that is Marduk coming into our sphere of influence and going into this area here being our solar system. It is out there in the outer reaches, and it comes here, and as you will see, it dips because of the magnetic pull of the sun, the gravity of the sun. It dips suddenly and then slingshots back. At least 11 scientists were killed because of what it is they found out and were about to reveal to us about the coming of Marduk, as well as the coming of planet killers that Marduk is bringing with them. Again, we have a shot of the path and the trajectory of Marduk as it makes its move. Now, at the point here, Nibiru came into our solar system. It came in at a 32-degree angle and left out at a 33-degree angle. What does that mean? For all you Masons in the house. Let me say that again. Nibiru came in at a 32-degree angle at the level of the sun in Fundishi. Give it up to the brother in Fundishi, Hassan. Came in at a 32-degree angle and left at a 33-degree angle, which meant that what we saw during 2003, 2007 was a cosmic initiation. A cosmic initiation. People say, well, there's no such thing as Nibiru. Really? Well, I want you to take a look at this particular CAT cam and you will see Nemesis. Watch very carefully. Watch the horizon. But of course, how many clear skies have we had over the last 6 to 10 months to the last few years? Has anybody ever seen these little birds flying by that look like they've been eating beans for and all this gas is coming out the back end? And all of a sudden the gas spreads and you can't see blue sky anymore? Yeah, we'll talk about those too. But there is Nibiru, the second sun that your ancestors spoke about and put on their so-called cartouches, as well as in the Khufu text and all of the other ancient texts that the Vatican still has hidden in the bowels of what turns out to be a 5-mile network of libraries under the city of the Vatican. Again, like I spoke of, hang on a second. Forgive me, everyone. Where's the buttons on this? Shut this off. Shut this button off. Pardon me a minute, everyone.
I gotta get on.
Huh? Yeah, where's the lens cap? That's a good idea. Never mind.
Good thought.
Good thinking. I have to talk amongst yourself for a minute.
Now just take your time.
Real patiently waiting.
It's all right, brother. I got it.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah. What has happened? Yeah, I did.
Okay,
For good
good.
reason. Yeah. Good to go. Good to go. Thanks.
I'm just enjoying myself. Don't let me up mine.
Don't get too happy and don't go too far. Put it back into this.
There you go.
Okay. Everybody ran out. I guess they had to go to the bathroom, wanted to get something to eat. As the event horizon of end time 2012 rapidly approaches, signaling the end of a galactic time frame of consciousness, the parasitic elite has intensified their attack on the evolutionary consciousness of humanity. Satanic sigils embedded in mind-fuck programming and propaganda campaigns broadcast and promoted through education, entertainment, and assorted government control, mega media subsidiaries, combined with heart-controlled neurodisruptive frequencies, are being witnessed and felt around the world by the sensitive few who are tuned to the incoming light code frequencies. The end of the epoch is here, and the shift of the ages has begun. As a result, repressive consciousness manipulating techniques have progressed to levels of sophistication where the megalomaniacal ego of the parasites who practice them no longer consider it necessary to hide their ultimate intentions for us anymore. The vampires have become day walkers. Look very carefully at the sigil that they're going to be using for your 2012 Olympics. We're not even talking about the 8th. Because your ancestors always told you to look at the symbol for what the mind has to say with 1,000 words. Remember, the mind is what is being worked on. I told you the name of the thing is hyperdimensional warfare. We are not going to be the combat that we're talking about now today. That's conventional. Today they're winning it with hyperdimensional technologies. And the reason why I added the subtitle as Tesla's Ghost is because right now they have tried, and it has now been found workable. The death ray that Tesla had created works. I have got information speaking to the fact that they can now take a bus the size of a city bus, and when it gets hit by the ray, it comes down to the size of a Volkswagen. A human body, a full adult, 6-foot man, once the ray hits him, becomes the size of a newborn baby. They have been doing this in Fallujah and in different parts of Iraq, experimenting with these new death rays that Tesla had created. Now take a look at this specific sigil, and remember, people, that London was picked for the 2012 Olympics. They're bringing it home to the belly of the beast. The city of London is not part of England. It's not part of anything. It's what rules the planet at this particular time at the behest of the Vatican. Now take a very close look at these particular sigils. There is the Olympic symbol. There is the London nomenclature. Shift the symbols around, and what do you get?
Zion.
Kabbalah is in the house.
That's right.
Kabbalah is in the house, but that's nothing. Aryan Nation. This is your Olympics. What are they telling us? Get ready. No, there's no Zionists, there's no Nazis, they're all one. The Zionists work for the Nazis. The Zionists are Nazis.
Different parts of the planet they working on, bro.
Switch it around again, and what do you get? The same symbol that you saw on the flag. This is the symbol for the new, and they're going to be marching with it. You're going to be there absorbing the sigil, because remember, a sigil translates 1,000 words. And they do ritual over these sigils before they put them out to the public. And y'all laugh at us when we do our Kemetic rituals. Christians say, well, that's just heathenism. Well, why are they ruling the world with heathenism? They got the world now doing heathenism. But they got you doing Christianity. Y'all got everything, right? But then it even gets better. Because they have taken the next game And there you have it. What's that? Anybody know? The SS. Hitler's elite. Schutzstassel. The Schutzstassel. The Schutzstassel. This is the symbol for the Olympics. Remember, the whole world watches the Olympics. Take a look. Two of them is the Schutzstassel, which is the SS. But do you know what one of them means? This is the symbol of the Hitler Youth.
Oh, that's right.
The new youth, yeah. I had it, yeah. That's was cool, yeah.
That's your good little bunt. This is the flag of the Hitler Youth. Now I want you to look at this simply because I want you to see what color they're using as the crown. For people who are not versed in the Kemetic sciences, they don't know what that means. They don't even understand what the wings mean. But they got you with the cross. They don't understand what the serpent means next to the hat. But what you're looking at is a Commission symbol disassembled.
Okay.
But they're using your sigils to empower themselves. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because I want you to see in your mind where the war is taking place in the very everyday symbols that you're working with. Symbols that you don't even think about twice. You look at it on the commercials, you say, oh, okay, that's for Volvo. Oh, okay, that's for Chrysler. Always remember what the sword means.
Yes, right.
What's the sword mean? Justice. And it is supported by the wings, which mean Ma'at. But then the red crown, that's where we're going to start getting into it later on. What that means and what this red crown has to do with the disappearances of the bee. Start to put the little pieces of the puzzle together. I'm just good little Bundes. This, I win. And I dug out from an old book, tracing down where all these little symbols of the Hitler Youth, even they got a little drummer boy with the Hitler Youth on there. Now, I'm going to ask you, where have you seen this symbol before? H&R Block, come on. Gatorade, come on. Shazam, come on. Flash, come on. See, y'all know. Everybody knows. But hey, that's your old generation. Y'all don't know about no damn Flash no more. They got to go after the younger generation. So where do we see that? We find out that the name is from the Elder Futhrak, Germanic, the oldest version of the runic alphabet. When you look at it, it says what? Say the word. Say it again. Say it again. No. Elongate the E. And close your mouth. Awas.
Okay, oh man, here we go.
Does anybody know who Awas is? Aleister Crowley, the 666 beast. And he will come up later in our little journey towards the understanding of hyperdimensional warfare. So the symbol AWAS or U comes out to be none other than AWAS, created by Crowley, who Crowley states is actually Heru. AWAS comes to visit him while he is in Morocco somewhere. And this is what he said was sitting in the corner talking to him. Coming to you now, right? The definition of U, Y-E-W. Any of the several evergreen trees or shrubs of the genus Taxus, of which the flat, dark green needles and often the scarlet berries, red, are poisonous. The durable fine-grained wood of an old species, T. baccata, used in cabinet making and for what? Archery bows. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the next use of the symbol for the Hitler Youth. And they put it right on that little bastard's head. Everybody want to run and go see Harry Potter? And what's the name of the new one? The Order of the Phoenix.
Oh,
We just getting started. I hope y'all dug in a little bit. We're going to be here a little bit. It's going to start unfolding where the war is taking place. Right here. And this symbol right here is about where it is it's dealing, right there on your temple lobe. We have you. It's so bad that we look at him and we see him and we say, oh, Voldemort gave it to him. You must be Harry Potter. Can I see the star? And the kids get, ooh. The kids are happy that he has it. And Harry Potter is conquering everything. He's getting bigger now. This is your little Nazi youth. And it's coming out of where? London, England. Remember, the royalty of London, England are not English. They're German.
Right. They're cousins, right? Yeah, they were cousins.
They changed their names during World War I.
That's it. Oh, they did. They had
to the Windsors. If you look at the way the British soldiers march, they're goose-stepping. The same way their cousins are in Germany. But then, all the little kids can have a little Harry Potter scar. They sell little scars for your children to put on their forehead. Have your own little Harry Potter lightning bolt. But that's all right. Because we come to 2012. Isn't that what it's all about, brothers and sisters? That's what it's called. But again, what's the lecture called? Hyperdimensional. 2012. Innocent, isn't it? Until you look at what it really is. Look at it.
Oh, yeah.
The flip of the 10 to the 1. And what do you get? 2012.
There it is. Exactly. Yeah.
So, the war is here. They keep playing you. and you don't see it in the mind. We talk about nationalism when they already conquered the most important territory you have, your mind. How you gonna get black folks nationalistically thinking when the corridors and the environment and the hills and dales and valleys of your thoughts and your mind are already colonized? Huh? Nationalism. Ain't no such fucking thing at all. Because that's what keeps you in the paradigm. It keeps you in there when you want to try to support and build something in this shit. Until it comes down and you're walking over bodies and rubble. Until everything comes down. And there ain't no more titles. And there ain't no more comfortable bodegas for you to go get your 40. Until you ain't worried about a damn job and just eating for the next day. You don't know shit about life. You don't know nothing about what's getting ready to come down. Because everybody gonna leave here and go home in their comfortable little houses, and as soon as they close the door, they think ain't nothing else getting in. But these jackboot bastards don't give a damn about your door. They already are building the goddamn concentration camps. In fact, it's built and they're firing it up. They already started building the wall that I told you they were going to build across Canada, and the one they're building down around Mexico. It ain't about keeping the Canadians out now, is it? It's about keeping your black ass in. They done shipped all your children overseas. And there's about to be a bloodbath over there because the Chinese, the Iranians, the North Koreans, all of them are surrounding your children right now. Anybody know Anna Nicole?
That witch.
Oh, there's a lot more to Anna Nicole that they ain't telling you about. But do you remember when she came in this clown makeup?
Yeah.
She was all clown makeup. Do you remember the colors that she was in? Red, green, and black. She had the colors of the Iranian flag across her face, telling you what's getting ready to go down. Get ready for nuke time. It's going to be a nuke party soon. In Venezuela, just a little south of here. War's going on that you don't know nothing about, because guess what? You don't think there's anything happening unless it's on the TV. Well, that's just a few things just to catch you up. I'm going to turn you on to some water weaponology now. Now, besides the obvious subliminal forms of covert attack, and not so obvious overt attack is being carried out right now through what I call the weaponization of water. And you don't pay attention to this because this is into your homes now.
That's right.
Water weaponology uses the nation's public water supply as a delivery system for biochemical attack. What better way to surreptitiously undermine and cripple the consciousness calibrating capabilities of the blood song and to suppress the evolutionary potential of the individual mind? This diabolical tactic uses sophisticated technologies as triggering mechanisms to channel what are termed lethal to slow lethal toxins through the public water supply to specific homes in a targeted population. And the worst part of this sick scenario is that this campaign is sanctioned by executive order through Section 817 of the Patriot Act, where your Congress has essentially authorized the unthinkable, a mass domestic depopulation program. Sometime in August of 2004, without notice or hype from the major media, an article was published in the Los Angeles Independent Media website exposing a plan by the U.S. government to depopulate the United States using the nation's water supply system. The article stated quite clearly that the entire public water system network throughout the United States had been or is currently being reconfigured to function as a finely tuned weapons delivery system which, when deployed, would selectively target individual homes with what was described as death water. The article stated that this had been accomplished or was currently being upgraded through the construction of a complex system of double lines and/or instruments with mixing capabilities retrofitted on already existing units. As a result, pre-existing homes would receive what is defined as life water, while targeted homes would receive what is called lethal to slow lethal death water from a special admixture channeled into the delivery system. The article was termed Public Extermination Project and may still be accessed at, get your pens ready, http://la.indiemedia or indiemedia.org/news/11566.php. And although this article came out in 2004 when I first mentioned it to you, right now as we speak, new information has surfaced to substantiate the author's claim. Section 817 is oddly titled The Expansion of the Biological Weapons Statute and reveals what may very well be the master code that authorizes this covert op. Of course, if you read the Patriot Act, it's a bunch of coded legalese that you need to reconstitute to plain language in order to expose its hidden intent. The first thing you see is that the statute was actually legalized or has legalized delivery systems and the use of toxins under what are described as prescribed circumstances. The term delivery system, brothers and sisters, is a military terminology used to define military technology in tactical situations. The word toxins, as far as I can recall and remember, is another word for what? Poisons. The statute is said to also determine when the use of these systems and toxins are considered legal or illegal. Brothers and sisters, toxins damage body systems. Poison, pharmaceutical or otherwise, is detrimental to the health and well-being of any living, breathing entity. Toxins terminate or injure life. They do not enhance it. Section 817 makes no mention of these poisons being used as a sanctioned form of punishment for a specific crime, but states quite clearly that it shall be legal when used for purposes determined as peaceful, protective, prophylactic, or in bona fide research. Now, outside of the bona fide research bullshit, what we can clearly see written is our government's legalization of peaceful, protective, and prophylactic poisoning of an unsuspecting population. Furthermore, this statute does not authorize its use against any military targets considered enemies of the United States, nor do we find control of this lethal weapon system in the hands of the military. And see, we have a lethal weapon system, delivery system, but as a weapon system, the military don't control it. So who is controlling it? And who would be intended targets of this legally peaceful, protective, prophylactic bioweapons delivery system? Who else but selected segments of the United States population? Who else but the so-called useless eaters and useless breeders? Remember, beloved, the Patriot Act was already written before the event of 9/11. And remember, too, the implementation of Manifest Destiny by the Vatican through the Nazis and the Communists and the Europeans who left their homes in the caves to come over here. How many times I've said Europe flushed its toilets and America was born? They sent the crack and then built upon it, using us to clean up the shit. What makes us think it will not happen here? Most people don't know that the same protocol of extermination has been refined and is due to be implemented right here in the United States very shortly. And most people know, they do know, that the fascist Nazis are here. They've been here. But people have absolutely no clue as to the depth and their penetration. Now this system has been configured for a mass kill-off so that it wouldn't be tactically proficient for them to have people running around turning valves. So how are they going to do it? Well, I have some pictures there that I'm going to show you. Now, I'm not a pipe fitter. I'm not a person who draws up plans. But I see something and I leave it for people to actually do the... If you are a person who lays pipe for the city, see what these plans mean. And find out what's going on while you're down there. And you know something? A good thing for you to do, everyone, is to go over to wherever they're working and take a look at what they're doing. There are certain pipe junctions and fittings that are ordinarily to just bring water in and carry it out. But now there are sophisticated parts to it where you see a second and third conduit being put together. What for? Now, the pipes used in the construction of the delivery system were manufactured, listen carefully, by a place called, or a company called U.S. Pipe. A quick peek at the top officials of U.S. Pipe reveals that a man named Roy Turok, the president of U.S. Pipe, had previously spent 25 years at Alcoa Corporation as vice president and general manager of their aerospace division. Walter Kohlenberg, vice president and financial officer of U.S. Pipe, previously served as vice president of finance and chief financial officer for Burns Aerospace Corporation. Wait a minute. So what are two former aerospace executives doing at the helm of a damn pipe-making company? Aerospace companies are usually known for soliciting and receiving lucrative government contracts to build fighter jets, weapons systems, and especially spy satellites. So think about it, people. Isn't it a huge leap from aerospace to plumbing? Unless there is a direct correlation between the satellite technology and the new upgraded, current reconfigured national water system. Scary version. There is. If you go to ROM Communications website, you will find a diagram showing how remote control water valves can be accessed from a damn computer, a laptop, or your cell phone. The water system can be accessed from a cell phone. This is what the shuttle was originally created to be. The shuttle is, and always has been, a military project. Currently, it is a maintenance vessel for the upkeep of satellite weapon systems trained on the unsuspecting populations of the Earth. On these poor and inadequate diagrams, you may make out what is the inclusion of a water valve system as a remote asset. Remote asset. But if you look more carefully, you will see what appears to be chalked in numbers of what turns out to be RFID chip addresses. So the ability to control the nation's domestic water weapon system from a remote location is doable and a tactical strategy. Now, the author of this investigation stated that the system has been configured for mass kill-off so it wouldn't be tactically proficient, so the order, if the order was to come down to deploy, to have to send an army of men to manually hand-turn valves to release the killing agent. You just have to push a button on a laptop. Besides, the few people who know about this weapon system attached to the public water system, the better. Now, don't ask me. All I'm going to do is put it for the record so that people who know what this means can maybe come forward and tell us. Somewhere in here, this was the plans that the person who was doing the behind the scenes investigation of what was going on, she had a chance to sneak up on the site and snatch a picture of the plans that the head man had laid out.
Excuse me, brother.
Yes.
Do you have a clearer picture than this?
No.
No.
This is the best one.
Yeah.
Because I'm a plumber.
Okay.
I do know a lot about how they do
Okay.
install those pipes.
All right. Great.
And they have a lot of sophisticated pipes that they are using.
Right.
And, I just can't make too much of any of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right here, this is the best shot I could make of it. Even blowing it up made it more. It was distorted to begin with.
But I can say this, that they do have valves.
Yes.
That they can set in place. That if they're adding valves or other pipes in, that they can trigger those certain valves to release. They're just sitting dormant with whatever is there.
So they're slaves and waiting for whatever it is they're going to be doing.
Whatever the purpose of them.
That's the thing that we're talking
And
about.
all they have to do is hit a certain control.
And that's it.
And it releases it into the water.
That's the thing.
Now they have what they call backflow preventers, which
Right.
keep other things that are going in from coming back.
Right.
So they also install those in the ground as well.
Okay, now here's the thing. Have you run into any kind of technology where they're speaking about the fact that it has, at the conduits, RFID chips?
I can't say I have because most of my work comes from private, private people who
Right.
need their plumbing fixed out in the street or on the curb line.
Okay.
So whatever.
All right, well then here.
That goes on a lot.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's exactly what we're trying to say.
Because when they're doing new water line or putting new water mains in, they have to use a water main.
Right, they said that to bypass it.
To bypass people water, to
Right.
continuously give them water.
Right.
So when they set this system up, that's what it's for.
Right.
Now,
So what's the second and third? What's the second one for if they already got a bypass system? What's that one for?
the one in the street is what gives the people a service back to their home.
And what's this one?
This one here, I'm not sure.
Okay.
And see that big clunk in the middle?
In the middle, yeah.
Right there?
Go up.
Right now, come
Now
down.
follow
There,
that,
right
in there.
there.
That in there. Now that's sort of like a backflow preventer.
Exactly. That's the back where they can add into that.
So nothing goes back
Right.
to contaminate the rest of the water.
Okay, now let me ask you then.
Forward.
What's this?
That's more like a
The reason why I'm saying is that the RFID chip is inside of this thing.
Right, yeah. That's like a turn off, shut off valve.
Now, it looks like, but see again, they're putting in things.
in three different.
It's going into three different. It's going. I'm sorry. Let me get back into this. Right. This here. It's 1, 2, 3, and then there's a fourth one here.
Well, that's the one that's underneath. More so, the one that is your income.
Okay, this is the incoming one.
Yeah.
And these are the
branched
estuaries.
off.
All right.
These are branches.
Now these have inside of here, from what I understand, ways that you can cut off.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
To go into it, right?
Yes, exactly.
Good. Okay.
Like ball valves. They can be ball
like-
valves, open and shut.
Here you have, and I'm sorry I couldn't get the best of the shots. Again, these things were very watered down and very washed out. Here you have the ROM systems that are in all these technologies that can be operated from remote distances. And what you're looking at here are where she got into, or where the man, the guy who did the particular investigation, he showed, and these are very bad, right there are markings that are RFID chip addresses. So on the pipes themselves, if you see a series of numbers that's written down, and if you look at the ROM schematics, you will see that the ROM schematics and the RFID chipping system is in those pipes, and that whatever delivery system that they want, whatever they want to deliver into the system through the delivery system, they can, and they have. Yes?
Phil, and the audience here, I don't know if you know this, I'm into public relations and I study campaigns and whatnot. They had a big campaign on regular news last week where they talked about stop drinking bottled water. You really need to go back to your tap water.
All right.
And they were pushing it. And, you know, right now I'm just researching to see who put out that campaign because it was on everybody's channel.
Okay now.
All right. And they're pushing us to go back to regular water because it's hard to control the company's water.
Yes.
But if we're talking this, there we go.
There you go.
And can I piggyback on that?
All right.
Now, I'm out of Philadelphia. And down in Philadelphia, they said New York has the best tap water.
Come on up and drink it. Yeah, right. You can have it. So, we see, based on this, I wanted to bring this part to you. Guess what this is? Brothers and sisters, that is a man.
What? What? He's a predator?
Yes. This is your new soldier. Make you want to run and join up now. This is the stuff that Preston Nichols and them were talking about. This is the stealth soldier. You can see him here.
You talking like Arnold Schwarzenegger's movie and whatnot?
Predator.
Yeah.
What it is that they can actually disturb the immediate environment around them and then reflect the surrounding areas so that you cannot see them. What you're actually looking at is the grass reflecting off of the type of suit he has. In fact, this was created by the Japanese to turn invisible.
Oh, well, okay, martial arts.
No, not martial arts. It was actually an actual technology that the Japanese created. This guy put on a suit. He was walking down the street. He looked like he was just a head walking down the street. Yes.
In the movie Predator, they showed it.
Yes. Yeah.
But you're not talking about
switches it off. The deflection stops.
The reflection stops, and you see it.
It reflects the surroundings.
Yes. And that's exactly the new technologies that they have.
But you're not talking about the ninja where you escape light, space and time. Individual.
No. You're using light and bending it.
Okay,
Waves.
okay.
Once you bend the waves, remember the eyes, you can trick the eyes anytime. The hand is quicker than the eye.
Right.
So it means you can trick the eye. All you have to do is shift. See, the eye works on spectrum. Once you mess with the spectrum, you mess with the ability to see. And this is exactly what they've been able to do. So get used to it. So make sure you live around a lot of concrete.
Like a
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back to this point here.
Here we go.
We said that we were going to speak a little bit on this situation in the calendar. Now, yet another attack vector being used in this covert meta-dimensional conflict, one that has inflicted collateral damage through its utilization of frequency weapons against the medium or environment taken by evolutionary consciousness supporting first-order human beings like us, is the method of covert attack that has resulted in the mass exterminations of the wild honeybees. For us to understand the subtle metaphysics being used in this phase of the war, we must first come to understand the occult significance of the bee itself as a race of consciousness relative to the light codes and the part they have played for humanity's resurrection and redemption in this third density programming from the very beginning. The most efficient record that still remains showing humanity's consciousness development from the beginning of our descent into third density reality exists in the Olmec Mayan eschatology as it relates to the underworlds and of evolutionary consciousness and the effects of the archons of the parasitic elite to prevent as many of us as possible from transiting out of the lockdown paradigm, which would signal the absolute end for these demonic bloodsuckers in semi-human form. Again, this will be the first phases of this topic. I had promised back in 2000 that I would teach the Olmec Mayan calendar system as we got closer to 2012, and this will be just the first phase, scratching the first phase. The Olmec Maya were not just sun worshippers who timed the cycles of the seasons. They mapped time as consciousness development. Let me say that again. They mapped time as consciousness development according to where the Earth was and its relationship to the galactic core, the center of our universe called Alcyon. That is the 9 underworlds. The calendral or the calendrical cycle. The Olmec Maya mapped time as it related to the perspectives of both the body and the soul. This is why they adopted 2 different type-keeping systems, the short count and the long count. The short count derives from combining the Tzolk'in cycle of 260 days with the solar year of 360 days and the Venus cycle of 584 days. In this way, short periods of 13, 52, and 104 years were delineated. But it's not the mundane short count that interests us about the Olmec Maya. It's the far more abstract and metaphysical long count calendar and its relationship to astrological cycles and our consciousness development. The long count is based on what is referred to as nested cycles. In other words, the cycles that the Earth interfaces with are there in the galaxy for us to catch up with as we ascend different levels in harmonics. The higher the harmonic, there is a nested cycle of awareness waiting for us to interface with, because the proximity of the universe to all the different galaxies and the way that the galaxies hit us with different vectors of light affect our consciousness each time we travel from one end of our galaxy to the next. Now, the abstract long count calendar is related to astronomical cycles and is based on the so-called nested cycle of days, multiplied at each level by one of the key occult numbers of the Olmec Maya. That is one of the most profound and powerful numbers of the Olmec Maya. And the reason why our Olmec ancestors created these numbers is to show you, brothers and sisters, exactly how long you have been in the flesh. Oh. Now let's get this straight. We're not just dealing with a calendar or whether or not we got birthdays coming up, when we get married. That was the short count calendar. The long count calendar is the journey that our planet took from the time it came out of one density dimension into this density dimension, and life began to synthesize into what we call reality today. The Olmec go back in time. You go back in time. They tell you how old your people are. Oh, you have no idea who you are. This thing doesn't click. Oh, go back the other way. Sorry. Stay trained. Ladies and gentlemen, we are speaking about the end of time. Now everybody say, oh my God, everybody grab something. Let's get the fuck out of here. It's the end of time. Chicken Little. The time is falling. The time is falling. Rejoice! Time is up! Oh, come on now. Let's hear it for time dying out and a new time coming in. Time is dead. Come on, let's say it. Right? Time is dead. Time is dead. Your higher consciousness will kill this time. Let me say that again. Your higher consciousness is going to murder this time. Put it out of its misery. Time to go out of this. I mean, come on. You all are walking around here as gods and you're worried about a job. Oh my God. Y'all worried about the man kicking you out because you ain't got a home. Y'all worried about being bums. Y'all worried about walking around homeless. Y'all worried about not having nothing to eat, nothing to feed your children with. Y'all worried about the physical body. And because you're doing that, no other solutions are coming up for you. Let me say that again. You keep worrying about what your body needs. And you keep worrying about when you're going to fill that little pocket you created. And you're worried about this pocket. And you keep worrying about things that maintain the appetite for that thing. But it's the end of time. And I have to impress that upon you because as we get more sophisticated into the Mayan calendar, you're going to see how superficial this bullshit really is.
Yeah, push the time back for the 2 by 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, yeah, he does that. They can do that because the Pope tells them to do it.
Yeah. But Eastern Standard Time.
Brothers and sisters, the Olmec Mayan term of days, a kin equals 1 day. A UNO recognizes 20 days. A tun recognizes 360 days. A katun is 7,200 days. A baktun is 144,000 days. And a hablatun is 480,800,000,000 days. Now wait a minute. 480,800,000,000 days. And we just getting started. Check out your people. Check out who you are. Check out you've been writing down shit for how long? Now remember what I told y'all? I said that if you can plot the cycle of the equinoxes for 144,000 years, and they say that this happens all along that time cycle until you come full circle to this point of 144,000 days, then this happens. How long have you been looking at the sky? If it's 144,000 years and that equals a cycle, you had to go around these twice before you knew what the fuck was going on. And you Christians believe that the earth started 6,000 years ago.
Somebody's mind fucking.
I've seen pictures of the Naga temples, the gods in relief with the dinosaurs.
Oh yeah, by all means. We've been here. It's been our party for this long. But remember when cancer hits a body. Everybody tell me what a color a cancer cell is.
White.
Let me say that again. We got cancer. Now, listen. I'm a doctor of naturopathic health. And I don't blame a sick person. I can't blame, quote unquote, white people because they're sick.
Exactly.
A lot of them are waking up now. Why? Because they've been around us long enough.
Right.
But when they first came here,
You have to remember that when they came to prominence, we were fallen. We did something to fuck up so that they rose. You have to fuck up the body for cancer to get in. Check? Check. So don't blame the white man. He come here to do a job.
Yeah.
To get you back to your damn selves. To heal. Because when you got it together, he no longer has power.
That's right.
When you start rising in your health, first your mental health, he dies and he knows it. And that's why I'm telling you this particular lecture on hyperdimensional mind control is because he has to maintain your ignorance in order to exist. Once you are out of this shit, he no longer has nothing to parasite on. It's coming out now. It's coming out. We can rejoice and teach our children. Brothers and sisters, take your children out the damn schools.
Thank you.
Let me just say this. Now I know I'm going to talk something that's going to get you feeling traumatic and save your children. They say save the children.
Yes, yes.
Take them out of school.
Yes.
Take your children out. Look at me.
Yes.
Take your children out of that damn system. It's fucking the boys up. It's destroying the boys and it's making the girls do what the boys are supposed to be doing. It's changing them. It's changing your children. It was meant to depreciate their ability to think consciously and to critically solve problems. Save your children. Yes, we're going to get. I don't want to take too much longer because we have part 2, which is going to start. This is where it starts to take off. Ladies and gentlemen, say if you have this particular number here, this is how the Mayans dealt with their dates and their calendars. So, in the Gregorian calendar system, the paramount question is of this age is, how did these numbers relate in the time sequences to the end of days being 2012 in the Gregorian calendar? Well, if we take the example of 6, 19, 19, 0, and 0 as the calendar date of the Olmec Maya, we would tabulate 6 Baktuns, 19 Katuns, 19 Tuns, 0 Unos, and 0 Kin, or days. .0.0.0. That is the completion of humanity's evolutionary consciousness journey through the 9 underworlds and 13 heavens, the decimal points being an occult reference to a pivotal point in the cycles of resurrection towards the end point of full illumination and spiritual redemption. So when you write the materials, when you write the dates of the Olmecs, you are writing time as a numerical value in consciousness. Time as a numerical value in the progression and evolution of consciousness. And here we arrive at the nexus or conjunction of the Olmec Mayan astrosciences and the Kemetic eschatology and mythos, thus showing that the ancient relationship is there between these highly advanced peoples. The correlation is seen in the Olmec Mayans' sacred tree and the Cometian tree of life, where both mythos have it sitting at the doorway of the underworld. Now, if we take a snapshot, the Mars are not observers of chronicles of administrators of mundane Earth cycle time as we know it, but of cosmogalactic time, or time as consciousness evolution, depicting our planet's sojourn through the 9 holodimensional tapestries of creation. There are 9 holographic dimensional tapestries to creation. Instead of just one underworld, which European Christianity considers to be the be-all and end-all for the damned, the 9 underworlds represented the 9 key steps in humanity's evolution in consciousness.
Thus, time in the Olmec Mayan calendrical system, in the time, there are 9 different cycles, time cycles, linked to a 360-day year, which is referred to as a tun. A sequence, listen carefully, a sequence of 13 of these time periods equals a creation cycle of 13 heavens with their specified durations. In other words, each of the 9 underworlds was created through a sequence of 13 heavens. So you have a pyramidal structure of consciousness, and each one built on the first harmonic cycle became, as it built itself out, it built itself through 13 variable frequencies to become whole. And then in that process of building that first cycle, the second cycle is born. So it has to be taken through a numerical value of 13. Again, what is the number of Christ? No, it's not 12. That's the number of the apostles. The Christ number was the value of 13. The number 13 is very sacred in the Illuminati because they understand what that means when it comes to harmonics and cycles of accretion. How many have heard or saw my Book of the Earth tape? In the Book of the Earth tape, I spoke about consciousness accretion and the fact that we, through these 9 cycles of creation and the 13 heavens, in order for us to build our own personal consciousness within a specific cycle of life, that the one element that has become so far 89, what we call, what? Hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, helium, these things. These are all part of the harmonic resonant variable of consciousness because there is no 88, there is no 104, there is no 90, there is no number to the elements. This periodic table that we use in science is an illusion. There is only one element, and that is hydrogen. And every variable of that hydrogen takes on a spin orientation. And it is at the it is the cycle and at the spin of the specific atom that gives you that element. It is simply the element hydrogen spinning at a different variable speed to create the element. So, what happens in the development of a consciousness cycle, we expand the consciousness variables within a hologram of being so that we begin to deal with consciousness and perception from every angle of the hydrogen. And as we become more grounded in the consciousness of the hydrogen atom as it represents itself on that specific level, we begin to discover all these different elements. But we're not discovering elements, we are discovering the way that the mind traces the angles of the particles that are spinning. And as we begin to become conscious, more earthbound, we begin to see all the different variables that the hydrogen atom can become. And that's how we get stuck in the illusion, because we keep using thought to solidify each of the variable directions and vectors of that spin. We keep solidifying it and making it real with our thoughts. We give these hydrogen vectors a place to exist by the way we use our thoughts. And when our thoughts are being used a specific way, we now create another element to match it. So as man began to depreciate and degenerate, as well as to become more technically involved in his mind, he began discovering all these different variables of the one hydrogen, and thus became more trapped by the illusion. Now what you have to do is to reabsorb or go through a consciousness accretion of taking all those variables and bringing them back to the self that is giving them their dimensions, that is constantly looking to see all the different variables and thinking that these different illusory spins of that particular particle is real. And it's not. It's just you using your thought process and crystallizing the illusion. So through the consciousness accretion, you stop looking at the illusion as the reality and begin to come and call all those energies back to yourself. Which is why you don't deal with this bullshit. This is why it's hyperdimensional warfare. Which means you got to start taking all the energies from this dimension and incorporating them into your morphogenetic field. Your morphogenetic field is your form-holding field. You have a form-holding field which you call your aura. Without it, you would be all atoms scattering in space. So inside of this morphogenetic field, you have to switch the polarities and begin to withdraw from the illusion and draw back all of the thought energies you put into those particular spin orientations, and then bring yourself back into the oneness, so that once you have accreted all of the energy bands that you've given off in your thoughts, now by bringing the whole dimension back into your morphogenetic field, boom, you disappear like your ancestors did. And you live on a whole other dimensional vortex of reality. I just broke down for you how to get the fuck out of Dodge. And of course, people are going to say, well, what the fuck does he say? He's crazy. I can take that. Can I cash that shit at the bank? Yes, you can. You see, I have just dropped metaphysics that your ancestors used to talk about around the table. You bullshitting around here worried about, again, the job.
Yes.
Their conversations were completely off the Richter. They were building, when last you built a pyramid? I'm serious. When last did you put down a geyser? The reason being that you are caught up in what you believe to be the spin orientation of reality. It's not. It's an illusion. It's a harmonic phased illusion, and your thoughts are supporting it. And what you do, the elements obey. What you think, the elements obey. So you have to learn that the war is to make you keep constantly playing into the spin orientations of matter that keep your consciousness locked in this bullshit. It makes you believe that your stomach is hurting. It makes you believe that you need sex constantly. It makes you believe that you need to eat all the time. You are feeding an illusion. And the more you feed it, the more it becomes real to you. Because you give life. You are the one that gives meaning to it. Withdraw the meaning, and it no longer exists. You have given meaning to your slavery. You've even given meaning to your victim consciousness. Oh, the white man just been doing it to us. Every fucking thing on TV is Oprah talking about a roll down the river. They keep us in this bullshit Toby mentality. Every time they got something to do with black folks, we in church. Oh, black man's in a dress. Can I get an amen? Who the fuck is this Medea? Why is it that a black man can't be a strong, powerful, dick-swinging leader of something? Why he got to dress like a woman to get on TV? Damn! And you know, it's deep because that's a powerful thing. When a black man comes on any movie screen, everybody's eye goes there. And that scares the shit out of Hollywood. They did a test on that. Every time a black person came on the screen, when they had this machine that would hook up to the eyes and map the movement of the eyes, and when they would put things on the screen, everybody, okay, look, black man, poof, and that'd be white people too. That's some scary shit. And you know the problem is we have too many people still pushing the Christian mentality as if that's the only thing black people had, because white people told them that if we didn't get you as slaves, you wouldn't have met Jesus. Well, I'll be damned. Shit. I'd rather just pass up the invitation. Said, fuck it, I don't want to meet him. The largest of the tune-based cycles, check this out. The largest of the tune-based cycles comprising 4,800,000,000 days, which equals 1.26 billion years of our time. Look at the amount of time! That's the amount of time your people talking about. Not this old bullshit.
Yeah.
You worried about 6,000 years and Adam and Eve and all this bullshit. There was no Adam and Eve. The Eve was the beginning of a consciousness cycle. Man or humanity always was. Always will be. There is no end to man, because that's an end to God.
Thank you.
Man always was. Man always will be. And I'm saying man as mem alf nun, not as man. Mother, father, son. Man always was from the beginning when God first had his nut. When the triple black mother said, baby, come get some of this. Let's make a world. Come on. That's when you started. You will never be ended. There's no end to you. You're afraid of dying. You see, afraid of leaving off this shit. Ain't you got enough stomach aches, diarrhea, and enough? What you worried about dying about? It's the easiest shit. Why? Because I did.
Yeah, okay. I hear you.
And I came back. And I said, oh, it was harder trying to get back in this body than it was to leave it.
Yeah.
And guess what? When your ancestors used to initiate the higher temples, the initiation was to kill you and bring you back. And when you died, you met the master in the etheric form, and both of you stood there looking at the bodies, and he would say, that's who you think you are. And then the priests that were standing around during the initiation, as they brought you back into the body, you were born again. No, we're not the river. When you had a Kemetic cycle of initiation, this bullshit about going here and tapping you on the shoulder and all this, the shit the Masons do, that is some weak kindergarten shit. You want to get initiated? Go to Kemet. You had to crawl through holes in mountains. You had a big ass person wait behind curtains, because when you emerged, and you had to get past chasms, and you had to go through underground, buried, so you couldn't even crawl through the hole no more. The hole came smaller and smaller as you crawled down, and you said, oh my God, I can't go forward. If you didn't have the constitution to move forward, you died there and stank up the place, and they come and eradicate your shit, clean out the place, and initiate the next man. You going through initiation. You ain't even fucking initiation. And if you came out, after you survived going through the chasm in the dark, and your eyes barely saw a little light, you walked to the light, you opened it up, and there was this fantastic room where there was curtains, and all of a sudden, this voluptuous, beautiful black woman would come, nipples erect, looking all sweet, ass, and here you are, you just come out of hell. You say, oh my God! And she gonna come up on you, and she gonna say, come on over here, honeydew melon. Come here, let me talk to you. And you touch her. You touch her. There's a big black motherfucker back there. If you go for it, up with your head. Wow. That's initiation. See, they don't play. We didn't play. To resurrect or to create a priest in Kemet, you had to be a real priest. You were prepared before you even emerged from the temple for 45 years. That's the slowest. I mean, that's what, kindergarten through college. 45 years. Why? Because you lived to 300, 400, 500. You didn't start procreating until about 125. Because you're too damn busy learning about yourself. here you are, walking around in a temple and don't know shit about it. You're walking around in the only vehicle that means any damn thing, but you clean your car better than you clean your goddamn body.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So 16.4 billion years were calculated by the Olmecs as the exact time that the first of the 9 underworlds was established. Upon the foundation of this first underworld, 8 more underworlds were built, each representing a specific and selected frame of consciousness within the rubric of universal evolutionary consciousness and matter, depending on the design and structure of the light code programming template it resembled. So remember, each galactic cycle was a template of consciousness. And every cycle that you made around the central galaxies of reality, you became more and more conscious of God as yourself. The fundamental underworld acted as the base to the pyramid or the cosmic pyramid of life. The beginnings of these sequences of 13 heavens are marked by crucial, traumatic events that the infinite number of humanities have left in their life weight through their existence. Records of which are continuously being... Okay, we're going to wait for a minute. Okay, he's good. All right, so that this particular left in their life weight through their existence, records of which are continuously being discovered in stone and on various papyri. At this very moment in cosmic time, humanity is crossing what? The 8th level of evolutionary consciousness within the cosmic pyramid of the underworlds towards inheriting a wider, more expanded frame of self-awareness. The highest levels of evolutionary consciousness attainment, the universal, will be achieved as we interface with the harmonics of the 9th underworld in the year presently dated in the Gregorian calendar as 2011, when this cycle of humanity will be brought into intimate proximity with higher consciousness life entities of other worlds. Of the 9 underworlds, the evolution of the 4 lower levels of dimension-based material consciousness are all expressed as the specialization of the tuning seed or the proto-material DNA for biological specialization. Okay? While the 5th highest levels of evolutionary consciousness carry the template signature programming for the specialization and sophistication of cultural identity, technology, and spiritual transcendence within the overall human experience. So each cycle you make, there is something different about who you are and what your consciousness is expanding into. According to the Olmec Maya, the following schematic represents the exact passage of 13 times 9 consciousness cycles of cosmic time that present humanity has sojourned within the current evolutionary cycles of 16.4 billion years. Get that out. 16.4 billion years. And these are not just superficial numbers. These are calculated time periods within your consciousness right now. This is what your ancestors put down for you to learn about yourself. In fact, for everyone on this planet to learn. Black, white, brown, yellow, everybody is going to have the same kind of trauma. And I don't give a fuck what the Illuminati do to try to get out from under it. Their ass ain't going nowhere. Guess what? They're trying to build a space station so they can get out of this shit. Watch what happens to that fucking space station. Anybody saw that movie with Bruce Willis? Armageddon. They put that shit up there trying to get away. They ain't going nowhere. Underground, above ground, in space. These motherfuckers can't go into space. They never went to the goddamn moon. Why? Because their consciousness has to be a specific way for you to leave the goddamn planet. You can't leave this goddamn planet. You cannot. Because you are in an envelope of consciousness that is sustained by the halo, by the morphogenetic field. Once you leave the morphogenetic field of this, it's like cutting an umbilical, your lifeline, your oxygen. You go mad if you go up into outer space right now. First of all, they couldn't even get past the fucking, what's that shit that they got there? Every monkey that sat up there came back as a fried drumstick. And these motherfuckers went to the moon. Everything they put up there in that, do you notice? Do you notice? Or is this just me? Every time one of them dumb goddamn ships up there, some shit breaks down. That's right. Oh, we gotta worry about the computers. We don't want to land in it. And they went to the moon. Come on. And something that looks like the Beverly Hillbillies car.
Who the fuck are they playing with?
Harmonic cycle 1, the first underworld, 16.4 billion years, was equals 5,990,400,000,000 days. Come on!
You know, it's funny.
It's blowing your mind, ain't it? This is your calendar.
You know, excuse me, sir.
Let me finish.
No,
short time.
You're finishing.
Days! Or 13 times 460,800,000,000 kin. This first harmonic cycle represented the expansion of cosmic hydrogen, the tuning seed, into the morphogenetic template of matter-based cellular consciousness. Harmonic cycle 2, the second underworld, 819,998,000 years. Or, these, I ain't going to read them off, these are the numbers here. This next harmonic cycle represented the accretion of light by the tuning seed into complex individuated consciousness. In other words, this is the time when the light field of the hologram that possessed the specific programming for life in this world began to break up into the thousands and billions of different variable souls that the mind of the Creator had invaginated into the dark matter consciousness, so that we can have an individuated spectrum of life. You are God represented now. You have a job. Your job is to experience. And in that experience, do you give the Creator experience? Because the Creator has no experience. The Creator just is. And the reality is that you were created to give the Creator an experience. And how are you going to give that experience? What kind of experience do you want to give back to the Father? Because the Father lives through the Son. That is the reason why you see Him sitting on the lap of the dark matter called Isis, nursing at her nipple, because she is matter, and that nipple represents matter and all that sustains matter. Harmonic cycle 3. You see the numbers? They are cycling down to where we are today. In cycle 3, triangulation of the tuning seed DNA for accretion of primitive monad. The monad is the essential self that consciousness places within specific variables of matter, and then begins to create the conditions where it changes matter back to spirit. So organization of matter-based consciousness for the operation of cosmic mind as human thought. We're going along. Harmonic cycle 4, you see the numbers. We're looking at the organization of individuated consciousness entities into functioning societies, tribal consciousness. Harmonic cycle 5. We see the crystallization and sophistication of language as matter-conscious communication of a cosmic mind articulating self-awareness. In other words, the cosmic mind, using language, now begins to verify its existence by describing itself and talking with itself and communicating with itself. Harmonic cycle 6. This is writing and national identity. Belief-oriented constructs are beginning to come into being. The more and the deeper we get into matter, the more estranged we are from the collective self. So we begin to now reverse our knowing into believing and thinking and dreaming and trying to bring ourselves back into contact with where we came from. Harmonic cycle 7. See again that we're winding down, we're cycling down. Is hyper-industrialization. Somatic consciousness, body consciousness, always worried about the body now. Materialism, planet-based consciousness. Harmonic cycle 8, cycling down. We see the rebirthing of evolutionary galactic consciousness within genetic tuning seed. Acceleration of morphogenetic wavelength accretion into higher dimensional fields of the monad. Don't worry about what it is I'm saying, because I'm putting this into your consciousness so that when the time comes, you can go back to this maybe a year later and say, now I know what it is. Harmonic cycle 9 for the 9th underworld, where we are today. 2011 years, going into transcendence, into higher galactic awareness. consciousness interface with outworld life forms, resonating on similar frequencies of awareness on the cosmic tree of life. This is where we're headed, brothers and sisters. This is the time, right now. Here we are. If we decode the metaphysics of the sacred tree of the Olmecs, we would see that it is an analogy for the crossing point of the ecliptic on the band of the trunk of the Milky Way. This, brothers and sisters, is the plaque of Palenque. The plaque of Palenque is where Pakal on the tree. This is something they discovered. They didn't know what the hell they had. Well, what they actually had was Pakal, who actually was the sun. This is the sun, and from his umbilical is the cosmic tree of life. What is the cosmic tree of life? This point right here, right at this point, represents the ecliptic of the sun. Now what does that mean? Well, it means that in Kemite, you see the cosmic tree of life in this Kemetic form with the twins. And we'll talk about the twins at another time. This is the twins right here. Here is the cosmic tree of life. And we begin to understand what the cosmic tree of life when we see it in this. In the cosmic tree of life, we are looking at this particular cycle. I'm sorry? Where are we? Oh, here we go. In the cosmic tree of life, what we are looking at right here, all these are representative of Nechets. All these, this situation here, represents something that you are looking up in the sky and seeing every day. This is the representation of the weighing of the heart right here against the feather. But you don't know what the heart is and what the heart means. We as Kemites always thought it meant this heart. No, it does not mean that heart.
Brother Phil,
Yeah.
when you go back to that one again, you'll see there's nothing new under the sun. We always had the red, black, and green.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
And that's decked out right now in Egypt, right?
Well, every time, check it out. Every time we cut into a watermelon, we celebrate, brother. Praise the red, black, and the green. What I'm going to do is explain this as we go along very quickly. Here we have the ecliptic of the sun. This is where we are now transiting towards. This is the point of the dark rift. This particular area is where we are heading. This is where the sun is right now. We are 5 years away from this approximation at this point. What does that mean? This is the path of the sun, what is called the ecliptic. This is the Milky Way right here. That's what we are looking at when we are looking at this particular cycle here. This, essentially, brothers and sisters, is a shot of the Milky Way, and all these are the star configurations that we are looking at, and we are not looking at. Remember, the Kemites didn't just do one thing. Everything they did had multiple meanings. Yes. And you have to understand who Wasir is. Sorry again, I got to get used to this. You have to understand who Wasir is and what his particular role is in this. And why it is the heart is here being weighed against the jackal and the hyena, and who this is taking you by the hand to this particular point, and who the 4 sons of Heru are. And we're going to go forward very quickly because that's the path of the sun, the ecliptic of the sun as we move forward. Here we have now, at this point, what the ancient Mayans called Sipalba. Sipalba is exactly the place where the war took place between the same twins I just showed you, who fought off all the demons of darkness and the dead, because the twins came back to resurrect the dead. Remember, every story we had was based on science. Now, when you watched the sun, they showed you Pakal in a boat. And Pakal was in a boat with about 9 or 10 other gods, and the gods were sinking in this canoe. They showed you a picture of the Pakal in a boat sinking with the other gods. This is the boat that you see here at Tikal. This is the canoe. And there are the 9 underworlds represented at this point. And this point right here we will come to when we see the meaning of that. Again, Sipalva, this is the Milky Way. Again, I'm not good with this yet. Here we have it. You were wondering about Mut, Mut, and the rest of them. Well, you don't understand what this means. This, brothers and sisters, is the Milky Way. That is your dark matter consciousness with all the stars. Now, I'm just going to do this very quickly because here you have her again. But I'm going to show you what it is that the ancestors was doing when they depicted this queen. They were showing you a picture of the Milky Way. This is the dark matter void. And who is that? It's Nut. They called her the vault of heaven. She who holds 1,000 souls. So, she was also Ament. Ament was the Amenta, where we, the dead souls, now go for resurrection to come out into the light when Heru went to rescue his father, where we just showed you Osir sitting at the throne. What does it mean? Well, very quickly, this is a picture of the Milky Way. This is a shot coming from one direction. This is a shot coming from another direction. This is the tree of life that your ancestors were looking at. The tree of life on the physical realm is the acacia tree. Look at the acacia tree and look at the way that the Milky Way looks. When your ancestors said the acacia was the tree of life on the physical realm, they were looking at this particular shot and saw it directly reflected up as the Milky Way. Here's another shot of the Milky Way, and look at another shot of the acacia trees. You are looking at what your ancestors saw in there. This is what they put in their consciousness. Not the shit from Disney. This is what they were using as part of their mind, their mental framework. Very quickly, look at the Nile. The Nile also represented the Milky Way, or at least Amenta, because remember, Amenta was supposed to be on the west side of the Nile, if I'm not mistaken. That's what they called it, but again, that's them playing with your mind. Because again, everything was based on the cryptic knowledge of the ancestors, and everything was dealing with astronomy. So there's the Milky Way. Here is your estuary. Here is the Mediterranean Sea. But remember, this thing flowed the other way at one time. It didn't flow this way, it flowed this way. When the earth shifted and did a polar shift, it began going back in this direction. Very quickly, this is the Mayan tree of life, and here's a shot down by Australia of the Milky Way. Look at the conform and look at the formation. Your ancestors knew exactly what time it was. Look at the Jed column and look at the Jed column. Everything represented the time frame that we are now about to meet up with. Look at this. Here is the tree of life. This is a real picture. Because look at the city here. This is the real picture of where we're headed as a species. This is again Pakal, the sun. And I'm going to speak on that. Here is the cosmic tree of life according to Kabbalah. Look at the convolutions taken. What are they speaking about? They are speaking about this area of your sky. Look again at the Sephiroth, and you will see that the Sephiroth matches essentially the areas of the sky, here being, of course, the lower area of Malkuth. And rising to this particular point here of the Darth, right here, or what they call the Sa in ancient Kemet. The new primordial ocean, Ketha, Akma, the winged disk, Bina, Darth, Hesad, Pakad, Tipperath, Netzah, Yesu, and Malkuth. This is a shot of the father being birthed by the mother. It's a study showing the first father deity emerging from the mouth of the crocodile frog, a symbol of the Milky Way. This is a picture of the mother giving birth to the father. The be-all and the end-all. He who is the be. What is the real proper word for Pharaoh? Nesut or Nisu Biti. But you see, when the Pharaoh wore the crown of Mut or Ata, the founder of Kemet in the eschatology. She founded Kemet before, and Kemet was underwater at the time. But what is she wearing? She is wearing the red crown. The red crown of Southern Kemet. That is the founding crown. What is there about these crowns? What is there about these crowns, brothers and sisters? We're not looking. Let me go back to you. What did I say was the name of every one of the crowns has the antenna of the bee on it. This is the southern crown of Kim, and Biti or Bati means he who is of the bee. We are of the bee clan, the creators, the pollinators of life, consciousness. When we sat on the throne as the men, as the king, we sat on Ast's lap as Heru. And we sat with the crown of Nut, or the night, or the southern crown of Kem, which was the red crown, the Kundalini energy. This antenna here showed that the bee was what we laid at and looked at the crown was a beehive. Just like the crown of Israel, when you saw the priests of Israel, you saw him look like he had a round top of the head. That was a mushroom. So what you're looking at here is, again, the movement right here. See this here? That's the Milky Way. And see this? That's the antenna of the bee. They say you got a bee in your bonnet? Yeah. That's what they meant. All of this here is about the bee. Now, the reason why I'm going to speak on this is to show you that Nut, who was the warrior goddess, had a companion when she went to found Egypt, or Kemet. She was given the orders to march and find Kemet, and in order for her to deal with this great journey of crossing the desert and finding Kemet, to raise Kemet, she was given Bast as a companion. But look again at what Bast is carrying. What's that is she carrying right there? It's called a sistrum. What is the sistrum? Well, we're going to see what it is. Here we have them taking your information. Look what he has in his hand. The hat of Kim, which is the beehive. He has what? The phoenix bird, which means resurrection. And he has an erect penis.
That's a penis?
Who has the erect penis? No, I'm not talking about you in here.
Let me get this done because I have to go to part 2.
No, not Horus. Get up! Come on! Men! Okay? Men was the fructifier. He kept bees. Now the reason why I'm telling you all this is because the bee is the foundation in the Kemetic culture. It was so sacred that as a qualifier, it went before words. You only put on, if you want to qualify a word, or if you want to make a word or determine a word, what do you call it, determinative, you put it after the word. The bee was so sacred it came before the word. That's how deep it was. Now,
Okay.
here you go in the beehive. Look in the beehive, and what is it that's inside of your brain? Nope.
Tree.
What are you seeing in it? No, you're not. What are you looking at? This is the gland of Willis in your brain. This is the Ankh cycle inside of you. This is the life force. This is what keeps you here. This is what your ancestors used as the sacred symbol. You didn't know where it came from. It came from inside of your brain. Right there at the top end of your brain is this. Right there inside of your brain, look carefully at it. I'm not jiving. Check it out. Your ancestors knew it. Look again. You're giving yourselves a hand. Because you ain't got nothing that I ain't got, and I ain't got nothing that you ain't got. Each one of you has the life. I am the resurrection and he that believeth in himself, herself, shall live. And as we go forward, we begin to see that here it is again. What are we looking at? What does this look like? It's the brain, but what are we looking at? Remember, symbols. Symbols give you meanings. You're looking at the bee. Look at the shape of the bee in your brain. And they did something. They sent they did an electrocardiogram, an electrocephalogram on the brain, and they followed the angle of Willis here, and look at what the electrical signals put out.
Okay.
Here's your bee putting his what do you call it, into the nectar, the heart. Huh? Check it. And what happens here? Look. Can we get an amen for the bee? Your mind is in tune with the life force on the planet, and when Nath came and founded Kemet, she started by bringing a swarm of bees with her. When Eve left the garden after Adam just brought trees with him. Eve left the garden and she brought a swarm of bees. Everywhere you go, the bees are the sacred progenitors of life. And why are they dying out? Well, they're not dying out. They are hibernating for the next time. Everybody thinks that they're dying out from all of this. I thought so too, but it then dawned on me. Bees hibernate for 3 months in their hives, which is why the ancestors likened them to the sun and said that bees were actually the dewdrops of the sun. Because they did exactly what the sun did in cycles. Inside, you say, well, the hive looks like it's dead. There's nothing happening. They're hibernating in there for 3 months. They're disappearing because this time is dead. And they are waiting for the resurrection. They're waiting for Nath to come back because we all going to be underwater. Ain't that what they said? Here's the brain. This is an actual brain showing the Isle of Willis. And look at it right there. There it is. And look at it again. There's your BI. So love your bee. To be or not to be. Quickly. These are the thorns of the acacia. And where did the thorns of the acacia come from? Here's where you get your Masonic symbols. The acacia tree in Masonry is supposed to be the tree of life. This was what was laid at the grave of Hiram Abiff. Here's the acacia tree, and here's another form of the acacia tree, but look at the way the thorns go. What does that give you a signal of? Hooked downward. Where have you seen it before? Right there.
That's the Shriners.
This is the Shriners. Here you have Heru. Here is the star Polaris. You see, the star Polaris is where the cycle of the movement of the sun ends, it ends at the pole star, Polaris. This is Polaris. This is Heru, the rebirth of the souls out of a mentor who goes to teach people to raise the dead. Here are the thorns of the acacia representing the tree of life. We are all beings at some point or another, and we have to make the honey of consciousness if we're going to get the fuck out of Dodge. And it's time for you to start hibernating so that you can start recouping your strength, because you're exhausting it out here in the illusion, and they're keeping you occupied with preoccupations so that you don't rest up for your next level of your spiritual journey. And we'll be right back with
help me get back to your throne.
best is yet to come.
Right.
I have an announcement to make. One of my dearest soldiers in the quest to bring enlightenment came here, and anything that we used to do, I mean, we were there at the beginning when everybody thought we were crazy for dressing up the way we did and looking and doing what we did. And this brother in New Jersey did something to place another peg in the foundation of the rise of Kemet. Our university is called the University of Commission Sciences. And what we know now that there is a Kemetic renaissance. Everyone around the world is looking at Kemet or Egypt for their foundation in spirituality or for the next paradigm. So our saying is that we are reclaiming our Kemetic legacy and defining it for our posterity. So we are going to own the Kemetic legacy, and to do that we must reclaim our language. And in so doing, there are brothers and sisters now in the works organizing a gathering of masters who are going to speak about the importance of resurrecting the language in the mind of our children and in the mind of our peoples. Because the language defines their reality. We've been defining a reality based upon a foreign mindset for the last 1,000 years. So one of the great teachers that is in this paradigm that I respect very greatly, Infandishi Hassan, there he is again. He and a lot of the brothers and sisters that are involved in bringing Kemet back into the hearts and minds of our people as a foundation, as a classical language, and as a classical reality. I mean, they talk about the Greeks, and the Greeks were children sitting at our feet. Everything that they thought the Greeks had started, they now find out there was a Kemetic foundation to it. All of the great so-called philosophers sat at the feet. You had Sanchoniathon, Sophists, all the rest of them. These were teachers of the Pythagoras who had the Pythagorean theorem. When the hell did he ever have a theorem? He now comes in, and all of the information now is coming back to Kemet. And everybody who feels that they can claim our legacy is coming back. And every white person I know was a priest in Kemet. Everybody I meet, European or Caucasian, you know, I had a dream, and I did a research, and I was a priestess in the temple. Why not the janitor? Why not the fucking cook? Why are you always a priestess in the temple? That's because they want to define themselves, and they're constantly defining themselves, looking at their teachers and their fathers and mothers. The children have taken over, and they've turned our place, our earth, into an asylum for insanity. It is time for us to reclaim the Kemetic peace that comes with the symbolism that we learn. Once our children see our ancient ancestors' communication symbols, they begin to calm and quiet. Why is it that the Hebrews can talk to their children? Why is it that Jews can talk in their own second languages? The people who speak Spanish don't speak their own language, so don't even try it if you're Puerto Ricano or anybody, any of the islands where in Spanish were your conquerors. I'm talking about going back to your Olmec Mayan roots and speaking that. Going back to your Kemetic roots and speaking the tongues of your language of your ancestors so that you can flip the switch to your consciousness once the language vibration begins to entrain your DNA. You begin to communicate with them. So what the brother has done is to put together a two-day program where the master teachers are going to come together to speak about the importance of reclaiming the Kemetic language and to teach our children the ancient Kemetic language of Medu Neter as a second language, so that when they're walking down the street speaking the Medu Neter, can't no cracker with no police and none of them understand what the fuck they're talking about. I would love to see what the brothers and sisters who have Kemet, the Medu Neter as a second language, how we always take something and flavor it with the moment. I'd love to see what they would do with the Cometian language when they've got it back. It's going to become hot, I can imagine. So what it is, I want to just say that you could get in contact with Brother Infundishi Salim. At first, the number you can get is 866-227-3170. Again, 866-227-3170. And the email or the website is www. And these words together, starting with capitalizations for each of the first letters of these words, all grouped. blackgoldsacredliving.com. Let me say that again. blackgoldsacredliving.com. Capitalize each one of the words first. Also, if you wish to use the email, it's info@blackgoldsacredliving.com. Now, I was asked that the major goal to speak this, the major goal for the first Pan-African Medu Neter Conference is to promote and educate the masses of people about Medu Neter and that it is the classical language of African people worldwide. It is the only African language that has a reservoir of ancient information in the fields of science, technology, astronomy, astrology, mathematics, agriculture, martial arts, of whom we have a master here at the Kukugani in Bumi, which is we started the martial arts. In fact, a black man named Bodhidharma walked 8,000 miles up into China to found Shaolin temples. Know that. He walked barefoot 8,000 miles, and on his way he studied the animal life and watched the way the serpent, watched the way the crane, the tiger, and each one of them did their lives, and he incorporated it into it. He became the spirit of the animals that he studied, because he also manifested what our ancient ancestors did. The Kemites over here that now call it Native Americans, they always begin their prayers, all my relations. And they speak about the animal people as well. So we entrained those spirits, and they taught us, and we defined ourselves through these particular movements. So we were the progenitors of that. You're looking at Bruce Lee and Robert E. Lee and whoever it is playing and all of them are doing you, because you can go up to northeastern China, northwestern China, into the bush and see people look just like you, with eyes and high tight cheekbones. They have a name for them from the Shang dynasty. So you are the progenitors. Don't let nobody fool you, no matter what they put out on the screen. Now, from martial arts, the martial science, healing arts and sciences, economics, government, literature, prose, poems, music, fine arts, spiritual teachings, spiritual rituals, nature, deep thought, and more. The Medu Neter will shift your paradigm out of the matrix of the Western world or white supremacy and give African people and the world a new nature, because Medu Neter is Medu Neter. A new nature-based matrix, which nest or the rest on the Ma'at or truth principle of righteousness, reciprocity, and harmonious balance. And this is the new time we're coming into. We are coming into the Ma'at cycle, where we're going to balance this madness that the earth is now witnessing. So with that, again, I would like to give the number 866-227-3170. At the end, if you wish to see the Master in Fundishi, he's right there and very accessible. I would think that it would be best for you to come up and talk with him. Thank you very much, brother. And staying true to the Ma'atian principle, I'm going to introduce a queen sister who has been a confidant and a teacher to me as well, and one who I know has the oracle. She is and has the oracle, and she has been given a specific gift as well as a specific mission and duty. And what I have found is that there are people that I have talked to that are angry with her, first of all, because she's a woman doing this. Second, that whatever it is that sister is doing, she is doing it from the heart, and she is very careful of what she's doing. Sister is meticulous. She's like me. I don't say anything or I don't do anything unless I have checked it 6 times, ace, deuce, trade. I have turned this damn thing inside out, and I will not move a step forward without saying, and I will qualify whether or not I don't have the information totally for you. But this sister has done her work. She has been victorious in the system that has locked away most of the brothers that have been trying to play at being who they are. They play at being Moors. And they set up all these temples around the country to tell brothers what it is and sisters to do, and they have failed, because I know a bunch of them are sitting in jail right now. So I'm saying to you that you don't have all the information. None of us do. I don't. I always step back when anyone, a master teacher comes and says, anyone, I will step back and I will learn. That's how a great master is born, and that's how you stay a master, by staying a student. What we got going here, the reason why I'm talking about hyperdimensional combat is because the fight now has been taken to another level. The technologies to make sure you stay in lockdown is in place. They got at least 2,000 satellites at any given moment just over the United States alone. And I'm talking about the rest of the world. We have a veritable, what can I call it? Log jam. And again, like I said to you, the shuttle is a military project. And as a result, it's used to maintain these particular satellites in place, in orbit. And they're building a space station now because they don't know what they're going to do. They want to see about getting these elite up off the earth while it goes through its change cycle. But they can run, but they can't hide. So what I'm going to speak to you on right now has to do with why you must be prepared for hyperdimensional combat. Because of what it is that the adversary has at his command. You have to become so knowledgeable of self and so deleted and so cleansed of all of your somatic appetites, because they attack you through what you have become addicted to. You can become addicted or entrained by specific light frequencies that come to you through commercials, so that you hear in your head a ditty and don't know why you're singing it while you're taking a leap. You're going through a conditioning process, and the conditioning process of mind creates psychosomatic appetites that make you do things 3rd and 4th level that are connected, but you can't connect the dots. You don't know why you have this yen for ice cream. You don't have yen for this. It's because you've been somatically programmed through something that you didn't think was connected to that program. And so you have a network of jamming frequencies from the frequency fence that is now working on your psyche, trying to shut down your evolutionary consciousness mobility. Remember, I said that you were a portable paradise. You are God and you are heaven. The kingdom of heaven is within you. So now we got the fallen ones that are trying to circumvent you coming out this paradigm, because like parasites, if the host gets better, the parasite dies.
Right.
So the parasite needs to keep the host thinking that this is who he or she is, so they can feed on that ignorance, on all the results of that ignorance. And the more you act the way you act, the more the parasite gets stronger. And the parasite can't directly affect you. He cannot attack you directly. He does it indirectly through your needs, your wants, your appetites that you create. And so once he starts playing on your appetites, once he starts working your appetites, that's it. He's got you. And every time he gets you angry, every time he has you feeling pain, you bleed ectoplasmic, spiritual, etheric blood, and he feeds. Why do you think all this war and killing is going on? Because as your spirit leaves, there is a powerful energy that is there. They can actually draw that energy out of you. So fear generates a whole other kind of energy in you, and they feed on your fear. So at the end of this particular cycle of pictures in the talking book, picture book, I'm going to give you what amounts to be 13 or 14 different ways that you can gird yourself to become warriors for hyperdimensional combat. And they're very simple to begin with. This is the first level. These are the things you must remember. So, what do? Let us become Welcome to America. Welcome to America 2008. Come and sit here. You guys see it in here. Yeah, come on over, sweetie. Welcome to America 2008. Matter of fact, I don't think we're going to need any of these because at this time, all your attention is going to be up here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is America starting May 2008. In May 2008, that is the time when Congress and your president is about to hand out your national ID card. On it, you will have a holographic microchip, DNA, eye scan, everything on this one card. If you don't have it, you can't get out the country. You can't get a passport. You may not even buy food because it's coming to that. Remember, after they took your gold, they did leave you a remedy, but they told you had to find it your damn self. But none of y'all know that you have the remedy, so they keep pimping you. You keep going deeper into debt, and the debt gets so deep that they got to take things from you of worth. They've taken everything, your land, your gold, your mind, and now they want your body. So essentially, when you own something and you don't want it, you have the choice to discard it, which is why they start kicking in with Global 2000 and the specific plan to get rid of 4.3 billion people on this planet before 2015, 2020. So know that America at this point has become a place where we are now going to be prisoners within our own houses. They are now teaching the soldiers for house-to-house combat. Right. All of your children are over in Iraq. Over here are the children of the Illuminati. They have military forces from China, the Yugoslavia, the Ukraine. They have Canadian soldiers here, Mexican soldiers. They are already in your borders. And those are the ones that they will field on your streets so that you will not have any ability to have conversation with somebody who don't know what the hell you're talking about anyway and will just shoot you.
Who's that?
Ladies and gentlemen, here is your dysfunctional, totally out of control, I don't care because I know what's about to happen, President.
He is the son of a heroin addict who became an alcoholic and a coke sniffer. Everything you think you know about this man, your family, is about to change. Everything that you think is happening in America, and maybe have some kind of idea that you've got a projected time that you can get out of here and do that. All they're doing is counting the time before they lower it. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know who this man is? Have you ever seen him on the streets? Ladies and gentlemen, this man's name is Otto Skorzeny. Get used to that name. He has passed on now. But get used to that name because he has outed the President of the United States. He has outed the Bush family. He has outed your government. He has outed everybody from the slime pits of Europe and in the blue blood satanic ritual, blood drinking, baby eating, let me say that again, baby eating bastards that are running your country and your world. He has outed them to the point where it's going to blow your mind, and it's going to come back around to why you have to study hyperdimensional tactics. Ladies and gentlemen, Otto Skorzeny was a member of the SS. Remember?
Yes.
That's what he looked like when he was the bodyguard of Adolf Hitler. Otto Skorzeny was an imposing man. He had the hands of a man that looks like he was wearing the gloves of a baseball. That's how big he was. A very tall and imposing man, and he was almost like the right hand of his Führer. He loved his Führer and did everything he could to watch for him. When the Führer and the Germany was attacked, and actually the Führer was put into power in order to destroy Germany, not to help it. The Führer is Schicklgruber. That's his real name. That's right. And Schicklgruber is part of the Rothschild family. The Vatican put him into power because, remember, the Rothschild, if you look up under the Catholic dictionary or the Catholic concordance or the large book that deals with the Britannica, if you look up the word Rothschild, it says bankers for the Vatican. Know that Otto Skorzeny was an intimate personage in the life of the Third Reich. Now, Otto Skorzeny was living in Florida because he was exonerated at all charges at the Nuremberg trials. Because he was the bodyguard, he did not get indicted because they could not find anything wrong with him. Otto Skorzeny Otto Skorzeny got his Führer out of Germany after he shot the double in the face. A pilot named Hanna Reich spirited the Führer out of Germany and into Italy. And they took Skorzeny with them. They landed, and the Führer stayed in the Vatican until he had minor plastic surgery, learned the superficial rites of the Mass, was positioned in South America at a small abbey where he did Mass for a while, and then taken back into the United States where your Führer lived at Camp David in Bethesda, Maryland. Your Führer had the distinction, and I forgot his name, and I'll get his name for you, but he changed his name and died at the ripe old age of 114 years in 2004. He was the oldest man in America, and you remember that every time they show you that, oh, here's the oldest man in America, they usually give you a picture of him. At the time when they talked about the oldest man in America dying, and they said what his name was, they never showed you a picture.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a family portrait that Otto Skorzeny gave to the author Eric Orion Berman. Eric Orion Berman was actually in love with his daughter. And his daughter, Eric Orion, they knew he was a Jew. But it was all right because they were in America and he was doing right by his daughter. His daughter raved about Eric and loved Eric. And what Otto did was one day pull Eric aside and say, come here, I want to tell you a few things. They didn't know who Otto was. He didn't know who Otto was until he revealed to Eric who he really was, because he was dying. And over the period of time that Otto Skorzeny was alive before he passed, he outed everybody in the Bush family. Not only did he out them, he had a shoebox full of pictures. 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 Ladies and gentlemen, Martin Bormann, Reinhard Gillen, Otto Skorzeny as a youth, Joseph Mengele, and George Scherf and his wife. Now, I want you to look at these pictures because they're very faint, they're old, they were taken back in the 1930s. And it's very difficult. I want you to settle in with this and take a look at it. Look at the picture, and I will go forward and we'll come back to it again. Ladies and gentlemen, here you have, running for senator, Prescott Bush and his wife, along with his son, George W.H. Bush, or H.W., or George Herbert Walker Bush. Check. Okay. Another picture, and they're faded, so I had to, this is very, very difficult. Another picture of them. Here they are. Here's Herbert Walker, here's Prescott, and there he is again. Okay? Keep your eyes peeled. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing you to Prescott Walker Bush and his father, Samuel Prescott Bush. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to George Scherf Jr., a.k.a. George Herbert Walker Bush. And they say you are the company you keep. Jack? He is dressed in a German naval officers, not officer, a naval academy of the Germans. He and Martin Bormann, who became Hitler's money man in the Nazis. Now just keep a pace with me. I told you that the father here, his name is George Scherf. He is George Scherf Jr. That's his name.
Samuel or Prescott?
No. This is George Scherf. His name, remember, he is not George, he is not Prescott or Samuel's son. He is George Scherf's son. He was commissioned by Hitler to spy when he was 16 years of age, from the Hitler Youth. He joined up with the Navy, the U.S. Navy, when he was 16, and because of Prescott Bush's relationship with the Nazis as the banker over here in the United States, he gave sanctuary to George Scherf, and George Scherf became George Herbert Walker Bush so that he could matriculate into the United States and spy, because he was a spy. He was taught to be a spy. Any clues as to what he eventually became? But wait, when you find out who helped create the CIA along with him. Ladies and gentlemen, do you see? Here he is again. Now you have to remember that you're looking at have you ever seen pictures of yourself when you're really young? And you don't even look the same anymore, do you? Somehow your cheeks fill out, or you look smaller, you look thinner, you look different. Well, George Herbert Walker Bush has gone through so many different changes, you can't even recognize him anymore. But here's the sweet part about it. The older he got, the more he began looking. Keep looking at the metamorphosis. There he is again. At where?
Yes.
Skull and Bones.
That's funny. That's funny, Kurt. That's a funny group.
It ain't funny because these sons of bitches are running the country. Okay?
Take the next left.
The George Bush Center for Intelligence. We're leading up to something here, ain't we? Because who is this George Bush? How is it that he became your president? Who the hell is he? You're putting anybody in office now. What is this nest of vipers that we're dealing with all around us, that we are looking at slowly and surely, are now becoming part of our life, our American life stream? And you would think that all of the Kentucky good old boys with the goddamn St. Andrew's crosses would be up in arms right now. I would at least think some Jews would be going apeshit. Remember why they shot John Lennon. John Lennon says, well, how does it feel to be a felon? He says, well, I live in a country that's run by Nazis. I should be right at home. And back when he said that, we said, what? John Lennon. Now you know this guy, Howdy Doody, is an idiot, so you know that he had to be mic'd in order for him to have the next sentence. But I want you to think about something else as you're going through this.
Schwarzenegger. That's right.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Did anybody see that movie, The Boys from Brazil?
Yes.
Well, that's who Arnold Schwarzenegger was. But do you know that Arnold Schwarzenegger's father was SS?
Yes.
This is Arnold Schwarzenegger's father's materials. This is his materials here. This is his passport. I tried my best to get this to focus in so you could see. There's the word, right? There's his name. Joseph Schwarzenegger. And you see that he is wearing the collar as well of the SS. Your governor in California is the child of a Nazi, but guess what? Quiet is kept. Here he is.
Jimmy Carter.
With, not Jimmy Carter, he's there with Warren Buffett and Rothschild. When Schwarzenegger first arrived in America before he achieved notoriety, he was introduced as...
Yeah, that's right.
Is it coming clearer, people? Is it coming clearer? Oh, it's going to get better before we do it. It's going to get better before we do it. I'm about to upset every comfort zone you think you got because you believe you're safe. You believe that we got government. You believe that the Nazis ain't here. You believe that you got a job to go to. You believe shit is all right when you close your door. But you in Nazi Germany. These motherfuckers got plans for you that you will not believe. They don't care about killing millions of y'all. This is what they do. What do you think the skull and crossbones are in the bonesmen? They are death-proof. They live in death. They walk and bathe in blood. They drink blood for ritual. These people eat and kill children daily. Something like 135,000 children are missing every year. Are we thinking? This is the lice. This is the parasite that sucks and feeds on the consciousness of the planet, that sucks and feeds on your consciousness. And everybody is just placidly going to sleep. Because the technology that they got, the lockdown technologies are deep. And let me tell you why. Has anybody seen this man? Do you know who he is? Not familiar? Well, maybe if you see him this way. Does he look familiar? No, that's does he look familiar? He's a white man, I know that. Somebody said David Berkowitz.
Yeah, he does look like
Look like him, right? Or maybe this one. Is he familiar? No? Remember, harken back to the first family picture. Ladies and gentlemen, there he is. He has had at least 12 different forms of plastic surgery. He uses human HDH from children to stay young.
Wow.
What? Who is he? You might know him as the Zodiac Killer.
Oh, get out of here.
Look at all of the sketches that they had of this son of a bitch. and they never caught him. I want you to look, and they've been playing this movie relentlessly. It was on just yesterday. Remember when they show you the person who is the Zodiac, when he's practicing with his gun, what kind of gun is he shooting? A German Luger. They keep giving you hints, peeps. And then he would put on the hood of Bethul when he went out to kill. Bethul Society, yeah. The Zodiac Killer is wanted, SS, war criminal terrorist, CIA spook employee who is supposed, quote, to be dead. Dr. Joseph Mengele. His American alias is Stephen Rabel. He looks much younger than he really is due to a history of facelifts. The Zodiac is also responsible for mailing the deadly anthrax letters in 2001. SS Dr. Mengele, a.k.a. the Zodiac Killer, is alive. Unfortunately for the public, guess what? The fucking U.S. government is protecting him and thousands of others. In fact, when he put the book out to out these sons of bitches, they all scattered. Why? Because the FBI alerted them. This man is a homicidal killer. He is a baby killer. He is a murderer par excellence. He has so many bodies on the count that it's part of who he is. Ladies and gentlemen, don't he look just like one of them sons of bitches? Don't he look just like him? I mean, everything that he's done looks like one. Look at that. Look at him out. That's a monkey if ever I did see one. Look at that. But guess what? That's not Curious George. There's another one. Everybody thinks that when the cartoon and the Disney character Curious George came out, they put it on him. The reason why they did that is because they wanted to keep the fact that the real Curious George, who was this particular character right here, and you see him again, I want you to look at him, look at his face, I want you to look at his contours, look at who he is, see who he is, his handler, who Curious George's handler was. Because Curious George was not the Curious George you think it was. Curious George was actually George Herbert Walker Bush. And how he got the name, was because this man, Nikola Tesla, when he was 65, Nikola Tesla at 25. I want you to see something. The reason why Curious George came out was because at the time that Tesla was doing his work, his grand secretary's name was George Cerf Sr. George Cerf was the personal secretary of Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla's son used to go into his laboratories and ruffle around in them. One day, Nikola caught him in his laboratory, going through his notes, stealing materials, and Nikola hated this little son of a bitch. Hated him. In fact, when he grew up, George Bush tried to kill Tesla by running him down. That's why Tesla got that limp. He lived. George took a car and tried to kill him. George W. Bush was stealing materials for the Third Reich as a 14, 15-year-old. He was a master spy at 14. And Nikola caught him and used to call him a little monkey. Now, there was the name of some Jewish people who escaped from Nazi Germany and got to, I believe it was America, and they met with Nicola, and when they were speaking about how they escaped and was getting away from the Nazis, the two couples named Ray started speaking about how they hated the Nazis and called the Nazis a bunch of little low-life monkeys. Tesla laughed and said, "Hey, I know a monkey myself. His name is George Scherf. I used to call him a little monkey. Curious George, I call him." The name Curious George came from Nikola Tesla. Now, everyone knew that Nikola used to call George Scherf Curious George. 2 days before the airing of the movie, the originator and the producer was found dead in a pile of garbage because he was about to give interviews about who Curious George really was. Here he is again. What you're looking at is a cartoon version of Nikola Tesla. And they said that the man in the yellow hat was actually the creator of this so-called series, but the creator of the series actually, giving honor to Tesla, used some of his own features for the little man in the yellow hat. Here you have Nikola Tesla meeting with one of the princes of Romania, right here. Now, the story is that on Tesla's deathbed in his hotel, he was visited one last time in April of, I believe, 1976. When did Tesla die? April? I don't remember the exact date. But during the 4 days that Tesla was interned in his bed and looking like this because he was brought out to meet the prince, he was visited one more time by this man, George Scherf. But before he was visited by George Scherf, he said, or it was said, that he was visited by 2 U.S. government agents. Now, we found out later on that those 2 U.S. government agents were actually Reinhard Gehlen and Otto Skorzeny. Otto Skorzeny confessed to the author that after he got the materials, they strangulated and suffocated and murdered Nikola Tesla. They took his materials to the American government, which is not the American government. And right now, at this moment, the Nazis have some of Tesla's most sophisticated material of all time. They have time warp machines. They have death rays. They have mind control machines. They have an arsenal that you would not believe based on Tesla's information. And Tesla was a good man. In fact, he was a great man. He was about to give electricity to everyone. Sex magic. That's right. We know what happened in the situation around him, first of all, falling from grace because, remember, he was doing a sex ritual magic and somebody died during the ritual. And it went out all over, at least Italy at the time, that this sex magic had killed this person and he became known as the beast. He was the devil incarnate because of what had happened. And it was all based on the newspapers pushing this on him. In fact, it got so deep that Mussolini kicked him and all his followers out of Italy. He became so poor as a result of that grace because, remember, he was doing a sex ritual magic and somebody died during the ritual. And it went out all over, at least Italy at the time, that this sex magic had killed this person and he became known as the beast. He was the devil incarnate because of what had happened. And it was all based on the newspapers pushing this on him. In fact, it got so deep that Mussolini kicked him and all his followers out of Italy. He became so poor as a result of that he was living destitute. Until one of his friends, Frank Harris, who was a big-time author back then, Frank Harris, he brought Aleister Crowley in to live with him while in France. So him and his boy, now these two were known as the atomic dogs of their day. They would screw anything walking. And Frank Harris, they said, was worse than Aleister Crowley. Now, Aleister Crowley, living in France with his partner, Frank Harris. Aleister Crowley had, Frank Harris met a socialite. And her name was, what was her name? Nellie O'Hara. Nellie O'Hara was a very close friend, good friend, with, what was her name? Pierce. Her name was, what was her name? What was Barbara's mother's name? Pierce. Pardon me. You have to go and get to my notes. Y'all hold on for a second, please. Thank you very much. What was the name of this woman? No. Her name was Pauline Pierce, married to Marvin Pierce, who was the president of McCall Corporation, who published McCall's magazine and Red Book. So now, this female, Pierce, she was, they knew her, she had a reputation of hot pants. She was everywhere. She even had an affair with Eisenhower. She was out there. Mama was out there. She asked her, she wanted to go to France and travel and be, the woman of the world and travel and have a good time. This dude was running a corporation. He said no, so she took off and went to see her friend Nellie. So she's there with Nellie, Frank Harris, and Aleister Crowley. Now Aleister Crowley was initiated into the highest form of the, and I have all of that there, and I'm trying to bring it off from my memory because there's so much to talk about, but he was initiated in the highest form of the OTO, the Order Templar Orientalis, and he was initiated into the rite as the highest of the high. But part of the ritual was to make sure that he went through the same Kemetic ritual, which was to die and at that time be given all of the information he needs on the psychic plane and then come back to life. But what to do in the sex magic is that he had to do every kind of sex act from everybody, they were wearing him. He has to be exhausted sexually to the point where he's half asleep and just can't barely come up. Then, after he's out cold in a coma, then they start playing with him. And they start doing things sexually to him. Now, if he comes back to, they have to stop. Until they exhaust him again, until he's halfway in twilight. And then they start telling him things and doing rituals over him to resurrect him back. Part of the people who were there doing the sex rite magic with him so that he could ascend was Pauline Pierce. When Pauline Pierce left to come back in June, I believe it was in that or September of the following year, when she got there by October, I think she came back in September or so forth, she gave birth to her third child named Barbara. Now, the Pierce on Barbara Pierce is really Percy. because the Pierces changed their names after the gunpowder plot that Guy Fawkes was part of. Barbara Pierce Bush, was part of the people that had to flee London, England, because they were part of the gunpowder plot, and James I had a contract out on her family. Until she changed it to Barbara Piercy, from Barbara Pierce. But guess what? We look again at him, and we see one more time, and this one definitely kicks it. Sergeant Pepper. There you go. Here you have George A.W. Bush being held by Pauline Pierce. Now, come on. Now, if there was ever a connection, that's his grandmother holding him. Pauline Pierce is his grandmother. Huh? No. Pauline Pierce is the mother of Barbara Bush. Barbara Bush gave birth to George W. Bush. George W. Bush is in the arms of his grandmother. Huh?
That's his grandmother.
That's his grandmother.
I know you said his wife's mother.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your legacy.
Yes.
At this very moment in time, the FBI are now allowing, let me just give you the story. Scoresby said that in the bringing over of the Nazis, they didn't just bring over scientists with Operation Paperclip. In fact, Scoresby was part of Operation Paperclip, and it was Scoresby that ran Operation Paperclip for the Vatican. Scoresby brought over, hear this now, 50,000 Nazis. 50,000 Nazis came into your country, and with George Bush, Scoresby was the one who helped founded the CIA. The CIA was the joining of OSS and the SS to form the Central Intelligence Agency. Scoresby, here's the other part. Scoresby had an affair with Evita Peron. Do you know who that is? The wife of Augustus Peron, who ran Peru. Argentina. He had an affair with her, and at the end, she put in her will to give him, Scoresby, $100 million. When Bush found that out, he took it. Scoresby said that this bastard owed him so much money, and before he died, he was going to stick it to him. And he did. Scoresby was the one who started outing him because he owed him money. Millions of dollars that belonged to him that he would have passed on to his children and his family, and he didn't. Scoresby now, and the book is called The Bush Connection. The Bush Connection. You can go up online, thebushconnection.com. Please go up and get the book, thebushconnection.com. The dude cannot find a publisher. And he puts it on the website. I defy anybody to say that this is not true. He spoke on he can only get radio programs on internet. He cannot get any rhythm. In fact, I did a radio show with the guy who wrote Vatican Assassins. Phelps. And he was interesting. I had to school him a little bit on some things. But he validated the information we've been speaking about for the last 20 years, that Islam is run by the Pope, and has the proof in his new version of Vatican Assassins 3. I suggest you get it. Information now is that we have outed where everyone in the Nazi government went to. In fact, the Pope, your Pope Benedict XVI, is actually a Nazi named Ratzinger, who was installed or enshrined as the Pope on the 116th anniversary of Adolf Hitler's birthday. So everybody needs to rejoice. Now, who is Anna Nicole? Anna Nicole, poor thing, was a monarch child. She, Madonna, Britney Spears, what's the other one? Christina Aguilera. All of them were once Mouseketeers. Justin Timberlake.
Paris Hilton.
And they went through the Monarch programming because remember, Disney was a Monarch handler and a pedophile. And he pushed all the fairy tales of Lewis Carroll, who was the prime pedophile of all time. And he wrote these children's stories. And the children's stories were actually Monarch programming that they would tell the program Monarch children. And part of the Monarch control was you got a butterfly on a vine. The movie Butterfly Effect was part of that. It was a Monarch trigger to awaken the people to deal with that. The same way that what's his name? DiCaprio in his movie about football something, but he came in with the trench coat, the black trench coat, Basketball Diaries, and used a shotgun, started wiping everybody out, and right after that, Columbine. You have to know that Hollywood is connected definitely to the Illuminati in such a way. For instance, let me, are you all with me?
Yes.
Yeah. You all gonna stick a minute? You hanging?
Got the time to talk out.
How y'all feeling after all of that?
Need more.
Y'all all right?
And the black suits coming over tonight.
That's the great Paul. See, talking about these Europeans and all the shenanigans and the way they play around with each other. You know, I'm wondering myself whether or not, I should even bother doing this, but I want to make sure that you understand why I call it hyperdimensional mind, hyperdimensional warfare, because they are connected to Tesla. Tesla gave them everything. And it's necessary for you to understand how your mind will be working. Your thoughts are not going to be your own. That's why I say snatch your children from the schools. Okay. Brothers and sisters, somebody's partying outside. Okay, let me just put this down for you. The movie V was also a celebration of torture techniques. Talk.
That's the black. That's the men in the black suits.
No, I think that's the.
The Jet Closer, that's the SS.
They're gonna kill us.
Now, part of the monarch mind control has to do with shaving the head, as you said. This is shown when the monarch control, mind control technique and situation was shown when Britney Spears shaved her head and when Demi Moore shaved her head. Has a butterfly with a vine, a tattoo of the monarch signature. Paris Hilton is now undergoing reprogramming because she lost control of her care mate, Britney, during the ritual sacrifice of Anna Nicole. Also, all the media hoopla over Anna Nicole, Howard K. Stern, the one that claims is the father, he is not the true father. The real father is Prince Frederick von Anhalt, born Robert Lichtenberg of Berlin in 1943, but not to the royal house of Anhalt. He was done by Prince Anhalt, a.k.a. Lichtenberg, was the child of insemination experiments by Nazi scientist Dr. Karl Klauberg. Thus, Robert Lichtenberg, a.k.a. Prince Anhalt, husband of the Hungarian Habsburg princess Sari/Zsa Gabor, Habsburg. Goodbye, city life. Remember that? Habsburg princess. Thus, Robert Lichtenberg came from the direct line, because of who he was, he is in the direct line of the Schickelgrubers. Thus, the one who inseminated and made Anna Nicole pregnant is a direct line from the Lichtenberg, who is a direct line from the Schickelgrubers, who is Adolf Hitler. The baby is the grandchild of Adolf Hitler. Now, the scramble to try to get the child is because of the seed that the child is carrying. I hope y'all ready for what I'm talking about. Because I've been sitting here trying to put these two things together and wondering whether or not anybody would get this. It's out there. It's out there, and you can look it up yourself. Schickelgruber is the actual name of Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler, Schickelgruber is Rothschild.
Right.
Schickelgruber is Rothschild. Now you see this whole goddamn incestuous thing. I mean, you're looking around, Arnold Schwarzenegger, everybody is family. The Royal House of America. Anna's monarch programming began to show in her interviews. One recent one before she died showed her in what looked to be like clown makeup. But if you look closely, you could see that the colors were the Iranian flag, a hint of the Illuminati and what they were about to do in Iran. But also, if Schickelgruber is the alias of Adolf Hitler, then it would make Adolf Hitler a Rothschild and the baby Daniel herself a Rothschild / Schickelgruber. By the way, when the movie V came out, the letter V was already being used as a subliminal sigil to broadcast satanic sacred geometry. Can we get some lights up and through here? So now what we're going to do, brothers and sisters, is to give you a quick lesson on the sigils that are being used to, excuse me, my children are here, my grandchildren are here. Are they here? Okay, to mind fuck you.
Yeah.
Alright? Remember it? Well, we're going to look at the fact that they're playing Masonic mind tricks on you because they don't write Viacom that way, they write it this way. Check. So what you're looking at,
You got the zoo. 6 points star.
it's all sex magic.
Exactly.
All of it.
Up and down.
That's the first one. So when you're looking at Viacom, you are looking at a sigil from the Masonic Order. Can anybody tell me what Hitler's invention is? No. The Volkswagen. So you're driving around in a car invented by Hitler. Who got a Volkswagen here? Yes, in a blue Volkswagen. Well, let's look at it. It means people car. He made a car that everybody could have to ride around. Small, compact, yes. But what you're looking at in Volkswagen is 3 V's, which in Hebrew Kabbalah is 3 W's, which is 666. This is gematria. Remember, W is Va, so is V. Wa. So the Volkswagen, every time they get a chance, they're going to put their magic into these major things that you sell and see every day. So I'm giving you, this is just the beginning.
So that's the lightning bolt sideways.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
See, I was going to do it later on, but... All right, y'all got it. Y'all got it. Something else I was looking at. Tell me what this symbol is. Because you know now you got it.
Thank you.
Vonage. Remember, we're dealing with V's. All V's. Valentine. It's all sex magic.
Yeah, that has something to do with Love Valentine.
Yes, really, not really. What you're looking at is essentially the head of the penis and open legs. Sex magic. Sigils. Sigils. That mess with your mind. V. How many people saw this one? What's that? What else? What else is the symbol on this VH1? What is it on? No, it's not on the television. It sits on a box. That, brothers and sisters, is what in Masonry is called the perfect ashlar. It is the hewn rough stone that is used, I'm speaking out of it, it was the rough stone that is made smooth by work. So, it sits on a cube, which is the Masonic symbol of the perfect ashlar or rough stone. The V is the sign for Venus. The H is for the sigil for the emperor in the tarot. And the 1 equals the phallus. The H1. Come on, let's turn it on. Yeah. Has anybody looked at MTV, which is upside down? Have you ever watched the sigil for MTV? It has right there in front of you a penis sticking out from the end. and nobody sees it. I'm saying, that's right there in your face. They're just dangling it. Okay, yeah, right. We all know what the word visa, what it means. You got that down. Visa's credit card is a sigil, just like they have this one. I don't know if you ever saw this one, where they have this, and then I noticed that they have this thing on it. Have you ever seen that symbol?
Yeah, like a fire.
Valero or like that. Do you know what that is? Again, the V is always either the vulva or the upturned legs of a woman.
Yes.
But guess what they put there now? Remember, the V is the Virgin, Venus, and she's always to be ravished in the ritual. Always. So what do they put here to signify the male? Sign of the yoke. Right there.
The masculine.
Brother Kabbalah understands. Symbol of Yud. Well, you know what I mean.
They got a new video game called We.
Yeah, W-I-I, right.
Equals 26.
And that is?
Yahoo.
Exactly. And I know you saw this one.
How about Valentine cigarettes? Is that one as well?
Oh, well, I'm not sure. I just know that I haven't seen that sigil in a while. Remember, V is the number also of the Hierophant. And who is the Hierophant? The fifth card of the Tarot.
Yeah.
Okay? Now here's an interesting one for you. Remember this? The one that brought you the Matrix? And they have this V here with all these V's inside of it.
Yeah.
All of them. 6 of them. They sit down and say, how are we going to fuck with this?
Yeah.
You know? How are we going to put ourselves out there and dangle it right in front of their faces? Like they'd be like they're behind a one-way mirror. And they're naked and going, right? Last but not least, I know you saw this one. If you look at the Volvo sign, it's sitting inside of a Mars symbol, and the Volvo is sitting here. You've seen it.
You can do some drawing. I think.
You seen that? Well, what does that mean? What does the Volvo mean? Well, if you look at Volvo, it comes from the word vulva. And what is vulva again? You got to remember, in the Roman numerals, the V's and the U's were the same. So you just do the same thing that we did before. And you have 2 working A's and V's for vulva. The middle here is what? The phallus. But here you have the word, that was the word vulva for where the word Volvo came from. But then you have the word Volvo. And what you have, again, is the same situation with the square and compass, but this time you got the 2 testicles on either side. And you have to remember that your mind just doesn't see it linearly. Your subconscious can square these around, and you have all these different kind of shapes inside of your head, and you don't know that's what you're looking at.
Well, can I ask the question? Is vulva the same sign in nature, right? The vulva.
Oh, the vulva? Yeah. Well, yeah.
It's the same thing.
Same thing. With that, I would like to say, and I will close it out by saying, and I think I did say it, thank you.
Oh, yes,
For
sir.
coming through. some questions, about 10, 15 minutes. Thank you very much. Yes, I'm gonna put certain things down. I'm gonna answer a couple of questions. I have a little hat that I would like if you just put maybe a little something in here. Put it right here on the desk, a little love offering, so we can get back home. The other thing is, I will give you my number. Thank you very much, beloved. Thank you very much. I will give you my number, brothers and sisters. This is the university website, UKSnow.org. That's University of Commission Sciences. That is the website of our school that we are going to help to raise brothers and sisters' consciousness. It is a cyber university, and we are giving certification through our temple. And Sister Myra is putting the information. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. We also would like to give you a telephone number, which is the answering service. I don't like to give my, thank you very much. I don't like to give my direct number simply because what's happening is, it's straight to my home. And I'd rather call you back after I've screened the calls, because it gets to be a little bit unnerving, especially when I'm trying to finish the book and Queen is trying to finish her work. It gets kind of crazy. So only those people that we can... Hey! How you been, Queen? How long you been here? Excuse me. My God, she goes back to back with Queen Fufu and I, right? So beautiful to see you. Thank you. Question? Yes, brother.
I got to get late. Did you speak on the bee collapse colony about why the bees?
Yes, the bees were hibernating. They're hibernating or they're leaving because they're about to establish the new paradigm. They have to leave. They do at the end of every cycle. The brothers who had a question they wanted me to answer. Hang on a second. There was an answer that they wanted me to answer that had to do with something. Who was that? It was you, brother. Yes. Give thanks, brother.
In your estimation, what kind of water should we be drinking out of here? Mineral water, distilled water?
Well, the distilled water is kind of dead right now. There is a water machine that can be used. The Japanese are creating it. Yes, the Kangen water. That would be good, but you can't carry it along with you when the ship breaks out. It only goes 72 hours if you want to bottle it. Only 72 hours. After that, it settles back down to the crap it is. It alkalizes the water, so it alkalinizes your system. Okay? So you can do the Kangen water, or just stick with the distilled water and put in some lemon. Organic lemon. Okay? Yeah, wait a minute. I had two questions from people who wanted to ask questions. Yes, brother.
2012, what's going to happen?
What's going to happen? Buy the tape.
Celestially, what are the pillars of Amenta that the earth is going to go through?
Celestially, the pillars of Amenta constitute the standing waves, harmonics of when you go into the void, there is a electromagnetic matrix in there that is devoid of certain energies that would interfere with the pure energies that is within the triangulation of the stars that's inside of the Milky Way. When you pass through that portal, there is nothing else but higher consciousness electrical energies that's going to make you either pass out or go through trips. But the frequency fence is going to diminish the effect, which is why you have to prepare by learning how to fight on a hyperdimensional level. The pillars of Amenti are essentially the bones in your back. And with that,
We're going to be here July 22nd with the brother Alim Day coming up, and the brother True Master from the Wu-Tang,
right here,
who is a metaphysician. They're going to be talking about the manipulation of our children and introducing us to what is called the Indigo Child.
Say that date again so you can write it down.
July 22nd.
What time? Flyers will be out.
Same time. Lights will be out. Thank you.